You know her from some of your favorite television shows. Yes, beloved television actress Dena Tyler is here. We're so excited. And there's no bull about that. Matter of fact, that's one of the shows, of course, she's in, Bull on CBS. Chicago Med, you've seen her on, and NCIS, and of course, Law and Order, The Path, and the list goes on and on and on. She is a true beloved television actress extraordinaire, and we're very excited to have her here on the show. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show. This is our live entertainment lifestyle variety talk show series, bringing back the lost art of conversation in style with all of you. Thanks for being with us. I am your host, and we're going to have a good time with Dena. She's all poised and ready to go, and we're so excited about that. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for joining us from wherever you're watching, morning, noon, or night from around the world. I advise if you would like to comment during the show, there's something cool that you can do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Of course, that's cool. We thank you to those who've done that already. But if you do that, there's a little bonus when you do that. You can actually comment in the JMS Lovity chat room. What the heck is the JMS Lovity chat room, you ask? Thanks for asking. I appreciate that. I heard you say that in my little earpiece here. That is a special chat room that actually is available when the shows are on and, when they're airing live and all. And that is a place where you can actually commiserate and chat and conversate with other viewers, our lovities that are watching from around the world. And you can actually chat with each other. You can chat with us too. Sometimes we even sprinkle a comment or two on our screen right there while the shows are on, which is really cool. So if you'd like to be a part of the JMS Lovity chat room when the show is on, that's an exclusive for our subscribers, a bonus gift from us to you when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Doesn't cost anything when you do that. That is absolutely free, and that is just a gift from us to you when when you do that. And we thank you so much to those of you who have done that as well. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss any of the incredible episodes that we have, hundreds of them that we've done so far, and hundreds of them that we're going to continue doing here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. As I mentioned, Dena is joining us here, and she is fantastic. Welcome, everybody, to the show, again, from wherever you're watching all around the world. Fans will recognize her from the recurring role as the dynamic, inspirational defense attorney, Liberty, alongside Michael Weatherly on CBS's Bull. She simultaneously recurred on Hulu's third season of The Path as Claudia, the devoted follower rising to fire and brimstone cult leader. As well, select TV credits have also included Blue Bloods, Chicago Med, NCIS, NOLA, as well as Homeland, Orange is the New Black, Instinct, guest starring opposite Alan Cumming, as well as The Deuce, The Path, 30 Rock, and all of the Law and Orders. On the stage, she has played Charlotte opposite Ellen Bernstein in The Cherry Orchard, and her portrayal of Emma in Betrayal at MST garnered her a nomination for Best Actress in a Drama at Broadway World's Regional Awards. She's a lifetime member of the Actors Studio as well. And also, too, there's a great program for actors that she co-developed called Fearless Acting that involves EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, and tapping, which I'm very familiar with. And a great friend of hers, EFT specialist, hypnotherapist Brad Yates, developed it with her. There's also a video that we have, too. And there's also a China trip to teach on-camera acting workshops to children, and co-director Peter and the Starcatcher. Student films she worked on, too, to give back, including Columbia Grad Film in Palm Springs and Mythic Bridge, plus the Ali Forney Center, a refuge for homeless LGBTQIA plus teens. Collaboration she volunteered for. And also, too, she's got a fun hat montage for her self-taped audition she did. And we're going to talk about that. She, as I mentioned, a member of the Actors Studio and so much more. She really is a star right here on the Jim Masters Show. Gang, thanks for joining us. If you'd like to comment, feel free. So good to have you here. Happy holidays, too. We want to say happy holidays because we are in the midst. We are in the thick of the holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year, all of the above. And have you done your shopping yet? Did you get all your shopping done yet? or you're going to order it and have it delivered to your doorstep, whatever the case may be. Happy holidays from all of us here, all your friends at the Jim Masters Show, live entertainment, lifestyle, variety talk show series. And hello to the JMS Loverty family as well. All right, we see a lot of comments coming in. That's cool. A lot of enthusiasm for our show, as always. And again, thanks for sharing the links and everything you do on all of your social media. You can find me at Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Jim Masters TV as well. All right. Without further ado, why don't we join together in welcoming our very special guest. Dena Tyler is joining us here. Dena, welcome to the show. It's so good to see you. Thank you for that clap. The only thing is you're muted. You have yourself on mute. So that was the mimed version. Yeah, you're still muted. Yeah, if you look at your, there you go. See?
Well, if we need to use a headset, we can. Oh, I'm still. I thought we had this all prepped. See, this is live television, folks.
No, yeah.
Is this better?
Yeah, try that. Say a few sentences.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you now.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
So do that clap wave again.
So, woo! Huge round of applause to everybody who's here, and especially you, Jim, for having me. I feel so blessed and honored to be here. The bar is high. I've watched a lot of your interviews, so
thank you very much. I appreciate that. Very kind of you.
So grateful.
Are you in LA right now?
No, I'm in New York City right now. Actually,
in New York City.
I'm on your coast.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic. What's happening right now for you in New York as the holidays approach and the tree is lit?
Yeah, I haven't even seen the tree yet. I watched your interview last night about the Liberace Museum, which was fascinating because I was in Vegas like 3 days ago.
Oh, boy.
So
that was a couple of nights ago with Lisa Gay.
Oh, was it a couple nights ago?
Yeah.
Oh, she's wonderful.
That was about a week ago.
I can't keep up with you guys. It's so prolific. Yeah.
You've been working hard, haven't you? The days get
I have, and I've been traveling a bunch. So I just got back and got
jet lag.
So I'm actually happy to have a little breather to prep and shop and decorate the Christmas tree and all that fun stuff.
Tell the audience where you hail originally from.
So I originally hail from the north.
Right.
So winter is coming, and yes, Syracuse. So you'll hear a little bit of a Midwesty, almost like a Fargo accent come out of me when I'm feeling real lovety.
Lovety, exactly right.
So
you love snow?
No, that's such a funny misnomer. Like people think, oh, you're from the north, you're used to.
You must love snow, right?
No,
or that everybody in Florida surfs. Not quite.
Right. So no, I'm a wuss. I don't like the cold at all. So I'm really wimpy.
Are you here now on the East Coast through the holidays?
That's a plan. I think so.
Yeah. Will you be seeing family during the holiday as well?
I will. In fact, I'm traveling tomorrow to see some. So it'll be.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So I'll try to batch in a bunch of really fun visits. I have a big family. We're all very close. So yeah, I'm really excited.
How big is the family?
There are 4 immediate children in my family, and then I have 2 other siblings. It's a big Greek Italian hodgepodge of hot mess love fest.
Right, love it, exactly. That's fantastic. So it sounds like you got a big group there of family, which is great. My mother's the youngest of 16.
Oh my God, it's not that big. Now I feel like a little baby micro family. It's like itsy-bitsy. I have an itsy bitsy family.
Wow, no. It's all, it's
16? No.
She's the youngest of 16. Could you imagine that?
Her mom birthed 16 babies.
Her mother did.
Were they all her? Oh my God.
All hers, all real, and all real. Yeah, all real.
No, but
no mannequins or anything. Yes, in 20 years' time, too. The oldest and my mother youngest, only 20 years in between.
Holy cow, she's a saint, right? No.
The grandmother, yes. Grandmother Esther, yes.
Grandma Esther.
Yes.
Oh, poor Grandma Esther on her back a lot. Oh
So
my
how have you
goodness.
been? I mean, it's been an interesting time, the last couple of years as
It
we're all getting
has.
sort of reacclimated to our routines, and some of our routines have changed, and we've had to sort of readapt or adapt, and we've had to repivot and move things around in our lives. How about for you?
I have to say, so I was here during the height of everything, during the height of the pandemic in New York City. I live on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, and I've lived here for 20 years. And New York has exactly gone through tremendous changes, not what we see in the media because of political um
Craziness?
yes, okay, I like that word. I want everyone to feel loved. So I don't want to
Exactly.
alienate anyone, but I'm just saying that, it's just like I think in terms of, and you're in the entertainment business and in the news business. So it's like you have to heighten certain things in order to sell stories and to engage and intrigue your audience. So in terms of the level of danger or crime that I feel here and stuff, that's not really what I'm alluding to, but it's more, I mean, just the logistics of living in Manhattan I moved to the city. I knew like all of my life I wanted to live here. And there's never been a second in my whole life that I was like, I can't live in New York anymore. Like the noise never bothers me. The supposed chaos never affects me. I have a really tremendous harmony and balance in the day to day. I love meeting new people. I love being exposed to different cultures. I love to learn and to grow. And New York, there's no better place. And it was pretty stagnant with regard to culture and with regard to our, just our social lives completely changed. So so it was really challenging, but I still felt this that I can see you and I can be with all of you right now. That was a tremendous gift that I was teaching. I started to teach because we weren't, everything had shut down and I wasn't
Yeah.
TV shows and needed to still, buy a sandwich and feed my doggy. I had to, I started teaching some classes online and I like you mentioned earlier that in the intro that I teach children a lot. And I had an opportunity to teach children in all over the world. I had a little girl in Istanbul, Turkey, who reached out to me and said, I've always wanted to take acting classes. How can I study with you? There were children in South America, children in England, and it was wonderful to be able to be online and to still be connected and to still express ourselves through this medium that I adore. I love storytelling. I love being an actor, and I love us exchanging and sharing stories. So during that time, I had a lot of part of our assignment would be for them to make um, a COVID gift film.
Mm.
So every single student that I had them send me a film. And I said, it could be anything, whatever you could voice over your dog saying, I get to stay home with you all the time now. And
That's
you're never
cool.
going back to work or whatever. And so I have all these movies still saved. They're just priceless. So, and then that said, I also worked a bunch during the pandemic.
You did, huh?
I did. I had 3 really awesome guest stars, the Chicago Med um, and the NCIS and my SVU. I play recurring judge on SVU. So I had shot episodes of that. So that was really neat too.
Yeah.
I got to, and that was so different to be on set. And you know what the really, really cool too is it was really neat to be on set in Chicago, on set in New Orleans, and on set in New York, and see how everybody was handling, each individual network was handling their COVID protocols differently. There was different levels of, it was just, it was really interesting to travel during that time, to be involved and to really adapt. And everybody was so excited to be back at work. But there were a whole level of new things to learn and to adapt to on set.
How did you get started in the business early on? Growing up, like you say, in upstate New York towards Syracuse.
Right.
What were some of those opportunities for you? Did you start out in school plays? Were you doing plays in the garage? What were the inspirations for you? And is there talent within the family as well that inspired you?
Yeah. Oh, great question. So it's so funny. I'm definitely an extroverted introvert. So I was pretty shy-ish growing up, but then there was another, it was always like this duality of character as I was growing up, as I imagine as everybody, or I don't know what the plural of duality is, what
A lot
tertiary,
of people
whatever,
in the industry,
very
that's what they
faceted.
are. Yeah, they're extroverted introverts. So they're extroverted when it comes time for that, but then they do like the next day or whatever to be down and refresh, unplug, and then replug in so they can go out there and be extroverted and do what they have to do. Because in these industries, you have to be even a little more extroverted than what extrovert actually even calls for.
Right, right. Yeah, and I'm a big lovetier, and I give a lot, whether I'm teaching, whether I'm, and on set, I want to, I'm definitely strive for excellence in everything I do. So I definitely output a lot of my energy. So recharging back at home is definitely
Very
crucial to
important.
my
Yeah.
balance. But back to the old days. Yeah, so I actually did a bunch of school. I was active in the church growing up. I have a, Catholic by baptism and growing up, but I consider myself more I'm science is based is what I am. So I guess that my spirituality would fall underneath. Like everything that I believe in, I think is based and backed by science personally. But um, so yeah, I still, so I started to teach children then, about first penance and first communion, stuff like that. And I would read in church. So that was probably my first, and in schools, in like student productions at school. So those were probably my first public speaking endeavors. And I come from the country. I come from a teeny tiny high school in upstate New York. There were 70 people in our graduating class. So, and half of it was and it was near an Indian reservation. So half the student body were indigenous. I may not say PC things right now, but I'm going to try my best. But they were um, Native American,
Yeah.
a lot of half of our population. So, so there really wasn't a lot of arts, or funding for arts at that place. But I was a member of 4-H, and
Oh, you
4-H was
were?
like this amazing.
They
Yes,
had
I
great
grew up.
fairs.
Oh, it's wonderful. So I grew up I raised rabbits, I rode horses. I was always, my parents, my parents are pioneers. We lived off the land. I grew up in a very, I'd say, I don't know, my mom's probably watching. So anyway, my parents figured out a
Hello,
way to
Mom.
raise 4 kids on like 2 pennies rubbed together. If
Right.
she couldn't buy it, she would make it, whether it was donuts or homemade Doritos or whatever.
That's fantastic,
Like
right?
we had, yeah, we had fruit trees. She made every kind of pie, every kind of cookie, canned any kind of vegetable. We had gardens. My dad would go out with a bow and arrow, shoot a deer. I can remember years when he didn't get a deer and my parents were really struggling trying to figure out how they were going to feed their kids. So we grew
Mm,
up very modest, but my parents are so ninja. They
mm.
were really, like I said, they were pioneers. They would figure out how to do it. You make clothes. You can make clothes. You can fix somebody threw out a lawnmower. Let's fix that and mow our lawn. So I've got a very like Jill of all trades kind of like pulled up my bootstraps. I can figure this out. But yeah, so back to 4-H. It was wonderful. So I grew up a farm kid with boots on, fishing with my dad, camping in a tent. And so, but 4-H, part of the 4-H is they do have a public speaking division where you would do presentations of things. And I always love that. You make charts and I'm old, so not really,
Yeah.
but I remember cardboard, like this is predates any
Oh,
PowerPoint
yeah, sure.
presentations
Absolutely. I
so it
was
was
in Cub
really
Scouts,
fun.
Boy Scouts. We used to have the brown derby where we had to carve the car from, the wood. And it was, yeah, from scratch. We'd go camping, you know, out east
Yeah.
on Long Island, further out east, which was nice. Maybe it's not exactly like camping in Kansas or Iowa or something because it's Long Island, but we were far out east. We weren't camping in the city or anything.
Right. Our camping was really rough. My mother would like braid my hair and be like, okay, don't bathe for a week. We'll see you, roll of toilet paper, a Coleman lantern, and like an axe.
And you're on your way.
Yeah, we were, yeah.
Canteens,
Exactly. And a whole cooler full of home cooked meals that my mom, made sure she packed.
Nice.
For us, yeah.
So all of that background, is you're sort of absorbing that resilience, tenacity, patience, work hard for it. Some of those morals, ethics, some of the way of living, which actually was terrific to have as a background.
Yeah, my parents were so positive, can do. So it's like I said, you always just figured out how to do it yourself. You didn't call somebody else to do it for you. So that was how it all started.
Were they personalities? Are they personalities? Like, are they entertaining?
Both Leos.
Both. Oh, so yeah.
Oh, fiery, feisty.
Right. Funny.
It's got to be better figure it out.
Better figure it out.
My father. Oh, yeah. My father was hilarious. He could have like Richard Pryor, like kind of funny, naughty, dirty, but fabulous. Yeah. My dad passed away a few years ago, but he was one of the funniest men I've ever met.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. So he's got that performative, like
character,
he could have definitely done stand up. Yeah. And so facile, so fast. So his wit was he was so clever.
That's my father like that too. And that's been passed down to me. My father has always said, Jim, you should have gone into comedy because I'm always thinking and always looking for the line and for that connective tissue, something that, something where it's, I'm observing a situation that's going on and I can do a whole one act on just standing in a supermarket line and observing the craziness that's going on in front of me. And then everybody else ends up laughing and I'm still deadpan as I'm delivering it. I love that.
Best. Yeah. Oh, you're amazing.
It is the absolute best. So with all of that background, the real authentic growing up where you did, how did you get into the arts? How did that come your way?
Well, my mom is a pretty creative lady too. She used to do design windows downtown at, I think it was called Day Brothers or something.
Oh yeah, the window displays and all.
Window displays.
That's an art to itself.
She's amazing. My mom, like I said, she'd make my own clothes and my Halloween costumes, and she was a wonderful drawer. And I'm sure she still is. I just don't think she's tried in a while. But my mom was wonderfully creative, and so I think that taking that, I'm even like a combo of their names. My dad's name is Denny and my mom's name is Nina. So I'm Dena. So I'm such a combo baby.
So
I think I took real goodies from both. So yeah, my mom is very creative. And she was a dancer too. She did ballet and club dance, like go-go dancing. She's
sure.
Mom's a hottie.
Did that get passed down to you, the dancing prowess?
Well, I can move, but because we didn't have a lot of means for me to dance or sing. We didn't have any, because of where we lived and because of we didn't have the financial means.
Studio 54 wasn't around the corner.
No.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So
it's funny. So then how did you get into it? I mean, it had to be through school, right?
So high school, I think then I had the lead in the school play in my senior year and I loved it.
Play? What it was?
I think The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis or some crap.
Wow. Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
I remember a bunch of guys dressed in drag in it. It was probably really it might have been really progressive and I didn't even know it. I just thought it was real janky, but it was fun. I knew, I was like, oh.
Did you? You liked it, right? It was starting to.
Yeah, my drama teacher was wonderful. So so that really inspired me. And so I got a little bit of the bug there. And then I thought, well, maybe I always have been, like I said, science is a really huge integral part of my being. I thought I was destined to be a doctor. That was what I was going to go to school for. So I thought I could minor in theater, and my major was actually neuroscience. So I just kept trying to put the first year I was there, I didn't get involved in drama that much. I was behind the scenes doing costumes and stuff, so I could still get my minor. And but after I watched, I think, one production that I wasn't in, I was like, this is some crap. I don't want to be back there. I want to be up there with them,
I want to be
being
there.
awesome, living and breathing and inspiring and telling awesome stories. So yeah, it was always a struggle though. I mean, all the way up until the move to New York, I was like, it kept pulling me back. You know, I'd be like, all right, now I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to get married and have 2.5 kids, do the thing I'm supposed to
0.5?
do. 2.5, yeah.
The 0.5 is a 4-foot tall child, or
yeah.
Yeah.
Like my family compared to your mom's.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just
But what was inspiring you? Like, were you watching TV? You know, you're working in television. Were you watching and following a lot of the TV shows, the actors, actresses? Did you have favorite shows that you were enjoying and movies? And, you know, we all growing up, you know, were television babies, really followed a lot of what was on television and admired it.
Say we weren't allowed to watch a lot of TV. I really love to read. So I think literature and writing is probably a huge component. I mean, I've always really loved to read, and I love stories. And I guess if the most influential show I probably ever watched was Carol Burnett, and watching her on
what a great one.
all those sketches and I mean, they're all brilliant, and it was so much fun to watch.
Harvey Korman, Tim Conway, Vicki Lawrence.
Brilliant. So
still funny today when you see the re-airs. Yeah, still funny today because a lot of it ended up being ad-libbed too. They had the script,
and they'd break character, and
Harvey
it would be like, and they were trying to reel it back. It's priceless.
Yeah.
So I think that show probably inspired me more than anything else. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I'd be watching.
Carol Burnett came from very simple means in Texas.
Oh,
yeah,
did
she
really?
grew up in Texas. Yeah, I think it's San Antonio. And then her grandmother, she really was raised by her grandmother, she went with her grandmother who happened to be in Hollywood. And then she was there, right? Yeah, and then there was somebody, I think that, I don't know, there was somebody that saw her. There's a story, I think, where somebody saw her in a store or saw her doing something and left a few dollars or something for her and wanted to remain anonymous. And it was to help her with her career while she was now in Los Angeles and Hollywood. And then, you know, she ended up on the Gary Moore show and then just got noticed from there. But she literally grew up in, I think there was some alcoholism in the family with the parents or what have you. So she grew up with a grandmother, and she left Texas when she was a child and grew up in Hollywood. Big transition. And again, from simple means and she's always maintained because I've had the opportunity to chat with her and meet her, and she's maintained that authenticity, that real down to earth person, funny, legend, celebrity, iconic, all those words. But when you're engaging with her, she's Carol. She's the real person. Wow. She's authentic. No airs about her. No ego. Hey, I'm Carol Burnett. Step back 500 feet. Not at all. So whatever the hope would be to meet somebody like that, she matches what you would hope. Warm,
that's amazing. That's
affable.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So she's, I think, again, in those situations where she came from, you know, not a big Hollywood family or lots of riches everywhere. They didn't have yachts in Miami or any of that. She kept something about working for it. She worked for it very hard. And there's a certain appreciation that comes with that, certain understanding and respect. And so she appreciates those who are trying to rise above and try to, you know, get something done with their lives and get ahead. And she's never lost that, which I think is a beautiful thing. As
it is
big as she is and iconic as she is, she's still Carol. And that's why it worked on her show and why everything she touches, you know, everybody wants to have the Dick Van Dyke's like that too. Dick Van Dyke grew up
Is
in
he?
Iowa.
Oh,
Johnny
wow.
Carson, Iowa,
So good.
Nebraska, coming from some of these places where they start off, in small little towns and
Mhm.
with some of this background. And then, like Dick Van Dyke is somebody who is the same thing. It's just exactly like you would expect. Florence Henderson, another one from, I
Wow.
think, Indiana, came from
Oh, wow.
Indiana. And here she is, Florence Henderson, the Brady Bunch, Carol Brady, all these things,
So
beloved
great.
actress. But when I have had opportunities to meet her and chat with her, um, when she was still with us, we do miss her,
Yeah.
she was nothing but real and funny and
Wow.
warm and everything you would hope Carol Brady, Mrs. Brady, would be.
That is beautiful. Where did Betty White grow up? Because she's got that kind of salt
Wasn't
of the earth,
she
just so I don't
wasn't
know.
she from the Midwest as well, I think?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, sort of that, So there is something to be said about, having that sort of quiet home and hearth family background where you have to really do your thing, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Start and do your thing. And I think there's a plus to that. Yeah, I just Oak Park, Illinois is where
Ah, see? That makes sense.
Betty White's from, Oak
Yeah.
Park, you know? So hang on to that background and those roots in that familial way because you're a straight shooter, you're a real person. I know the people that work with you feel like, Dena is Dena. We can have a good time with her. She works, like you said, strive for excellence. She works hard. She doesn't have all these airs about her. She doesn't walk in and then all of a sudden the seas are parted and everybody step back. I've never been that way either. I like to be approachable and real and, you know, me, what you see on TV and radio and here is basically me. Maybe it's a little heightened because there's lights, but not by much.
Yeah.
It's the way to be.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It's the way to be. So what was one of the first big opportunities for you that really got the ball rolling for Dena, where people really started noticing your great talent and your hard work ethic and what you wanted to be and who you were becoming?
Um, that's a really good question. I think probably my first job on Law& and Order. I wasn't SAG, and I wasn't a member of the Screen Actors Guild, the union, and I wasn't repped. And I had been interning at the Actors Studio for probably about 5 years. And I had a friend who told me, he said, because my plan was I was gonna, like I said, I paused my medical stuff and I was like, I'm gonna go to New York for 5 years and then I'm gonna scoot out, give it 5. So I had a friend that is also an actor and we had been down here for a while and he was like, 5 years is right when it's all gonna start to click. So he's like, I want to see how this all plays out. So, and he was right. He prophesied, or maybe my belief system prophesied, uh, manifested that. But
What
so
was it
just
like?
about
I was going
pardon
to say,
me?
when you told your family that you were going to switch from science to the arts, what was the reaction? Was that well received
Well,
or?
like I said, I come from such a modest family and background. My parent, I'm the first and only one of the kids in most of our family that had went to college. So it was I was always very self-motivated and driven. So my mom and dad were like, I don't know where she came from, but that's what she wants to do. So I was always very academically driven. And so I think when I had that hard switch, I was actually applying to medical schools. I was like, I had taken my MCAS. I mean, like I was ready to commit to it. And I I booked a regional theater show that got me my equity card. So at the same time, so I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this. It was at A.R. Gurney's Sylvia, so it was really really fun upstate. And then back to back, I did another show at GEVA Theatre with Eli Wallach's daughter. and Roberta. And she said to me, "What are you doing in Rochester, New York? You're going to be a doctor." She's like, "You're wonderful. Why don't you move to New York City?" She's like, "Check it out." She's like, "Go to the actor's studio." She's like, see what's down there. And, she's like, "Why would you choose what you're thinking of?" So anyway, it took a lot of soul searching. I was at a big crossroads, and I decided I was going to try. And I think my parents, they were in awe of it. It's just, I don't even think they could really wrap their anything around it. They were just like, "All right, she's going to go do this nutty thing now. She'll be back."
She'll
So
be back.
she'll be back. So like I said, I hit that 5-year mark, and I had been influenced by so many amazing people at the Actor Studio. I was watching Al Pacino workshop Salome. So, I was in those rehearsals every day. Back in the early, like, I was here for 9/11.
Yeah.
And then back, like, so from 99, I moved here October 99 on Halloween, up until about, like I said, 2005. I saw so many amazing things. So I was helped Estelle Parsons in the playwright directors unit.
Yeah.
I was reading a lot of plays. Horton Foote was there all the time. Romulus Linney, all these wonderful, legendary playwrights that have since passed away. So the studio was, Paul Newman was still alive, and he was there. Arthur Penn, who directed Bonnie and Clyde and Little Big Man. And, and the list goes on and on. But I became his personal assistant and worked for him for 10 years. So, which was wonderful. He directed Sly Fox on Broadway while I was still working for him and stuff. So I was influenced by so many. Anne Bancroft would be there, and all these different people would be around, and I get to watch in session. Ellen Burstyn was workshopping stuff.
A great training ground, huh? To have these iconic people all around you to watch their craft, how they do it, how they approach things.
Amazing. Yeah. Moscow Art Theater had come and done a workshop that I was invited to be a part of. And so it was just really incredible. So TV and film, it was kind of like I'm a thespian. I moved to New York and not LA so that I could really hone my craft. And I became a member of the studio in 2005. So I was a member, and I just was and I worked very, very hard and jumped through a lot of hoops to achieve that. Because that has to be unanimous. Harvey Keitel, Al Pacino, Ellen Burstyn, all these amazing people were my judges, and they all have to unanimously say, "Okay, we're going to welcome her in," and it's lifetime membership. And I'm really, really proud of that. But I hustled. I was always a part of, I was helping out an audition committee and a whole bunch of stuff leading up to that. So all of my craft was not technique for auditioning, especially for television. So I kept going in for stuff, and people, I think, I can't even imagine when I walked out of the room what people were thinking. They're like, "Well, she's doing this whole like sensory drop in." But so to answer the question, it's a very long story, but Suzanne Ryan, whom I adore, she's a casting director that's been in the business forever. She did The Mothership, Law and Order original. She cast all of that, I think, or maybe she cast a bunch of it anyway. I don't know. It was many, many, many seasons, but she had given me, as a courtesy, because I was working for Arthur Penn and his son, I kind of cornered him at an event, and I was like, "Hey," he was the executive producer for Law and Order. And I was like, "I don't have an agent, and I'm not part of the union. I don't know if you'd ever let me audition for to be a dead body. I could do that. I'm really good. I have a big science background." I said, "I could be a cadaver, really." Sign me up. So,
gotta start somewhere, right?
Yeah. So he said, "Do you have a headshot and resume?" I was like, yeah. So they brought me in as a courtesy and they gave me these sides that I could never book this part. It was like a 19-year-old cult, member of a cult. It was an awful, awful storyline, super awful storyline. This young children that were all being very abused by the elders in this, and they were all killing themselves. And we'd all run away to New York City, and because we were looking for one of our brothers who was on the run, and the baddies were chasing us of the cult. And so anyway, it said in the breakdown, it was like, just by looking at this, you can tell she's not from New York City. I'm like, how do you accomplish that? So all of my training at the studio, I braided lace into my hair. I went uber hippie. I wore a little sundress with red bell bottoms and white socks with Jesus sandals. And I walk into that audition, and because I was just thought I was doing like a scene at the studio, because we were
Right.
always very super dropped in. I
Mm-hmm.
had like religious medals on and an armband, because my brother had killed himself. So it was like this tribute to. And I walked in, and I wrote my own monologue to lead into. You never do. For anybody who's watching who knows how to audition for television, you don't change any network TV lines ever.
Just leave it.
Like
Right.
sacrilege. You dot your T's, you cross your T's, you dot your I's, and you just. But I was just like, I just had watched, I was watching, like I said, these legends work and really like rehearse and really flesh out these amazing moments in their work. So I went in and I did my little prep, and I had a whole bag of props. I wrote this. I said, I'm just going to do a little improv in. And Suzanne Ryan, and they were all sitting there looking. It was in a producer session, because they were like, well, let's just bring her in and see what she does. And so I'm crying, and I go through the whole scene, because it's this really emotional scene. I finally get to the lines, and I'm done, and I'm packing up my whole suitcase, and I walk out. Suzanne Ryan's coming running down the hall. She's like, wait, who are you? She's like, where did you come from?
Yeah.
And I said, I'm in it. I just became a member of the Actors Studio. And I said, they brought me in as a courtesy. She's like, no, I'm just saying, where did you train? How come you don't have an agent? What happened? So she said, we just brought you in as a courtesy. This was like, these were phony sides. You weren't supposed to you're not supposed to get this part at all. So they tried to rewrite that script for like a couple weeks. They postponed the episode. They brought in another episode. And I got a phone call the night before they shot that episode. And the executive producer called me and said, he said, Dena, that was one of the best auditions we've ever seen. And we've seen a lot of auditions. But he said, he's like, do you want the good news or the bad news? I said, I want the bad news. So he said, you can't get this part. We need a teenager. Like, we gave you these sides, like phony sides, to just see what you do with them. But he's like, we've been trying, the writers have been racking their brains to try, but the story doesn't make sense. So he said, we are going to find something for you, though. That's the good news. So I had to audition again, but it was amazing. So I still didn't have an agent, but Suzanne was helping me on the side to set up meetings for me. And it was a 5-scene guest star, top of show billing, the whole 9 yards. And Suzanne negotiated my contract. She got me, single card at the top of the show. I mean, this is all stuff that you typically get. So I quantum leapt from like nothing in the 5 years to like having like a amazing first experience on television. And
what was that like?
It was amazing. In fact, Michael Imperioli was on my episode, and he was at the height of his career on The Sopranos. So he was really nervous. So because I am so loving, and I'm not an empath at all, but I'm definitely compassionate. And I could see that he was really, really having a hard time. So I could look at that and be like, okay, if he's having a hard time, like, I should just feel great, even though this is my first time. So we became good pals. He even pulled me aside one day, and he's like, oh my God, he's like, this is so out of because I feel like such a fish out of water. This is so not my role that I'm working on right now. And so he said, I feel really off it. He's like, have you done many of these? And I was like, not a lot. It was my very first job. I'd never worked on TV before. So, but I didn't want to admit that, because I felt like that would be a house of cards. I probably would then succumb to. I'm like, stay strong, Dena. So,
Wow.
So it ended up being, and Dennis Farina was on the episode, and he was lovely, since passed. And Suzanne would call me and say, how are you doing? I'm watching the dailies. They look really, I got so much levity in that episode. And and I subsequently signed with a really great agent after that. And it was magical.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned some of the incredible shows that you're on, some of the most beloved television series that people really, really have an affinity for, which is incredible, like Chicago Med and Law and Order. As for you, but you've been on all of the Law and Orders.
Well, it's
Wow.
kind of a fib though, because when you read it, I was like, oh, wait, because I sent you my bio. I haven't been on organized crime. So
you're still.
So I still, yeah, that's the newer one. Yeah. So that was a miss.
So you're on
Right.
all except for that
Except
one?
the new one. I think so. I'm trying to think of what else
So
is
that leaves the door open
right.
for, yeah. So you were doing, when you sent that, you were doing some sort of intuitive
Yes.
forward thinking that
Mhm.
it would be all. So
Creative visualization. Right. There we go.
99.99% of them, she's been on. And then there's
Yeah,
that
99.9%. Yeah.
one that's out there. So producers, help her get to all.
Right, right, right.
But
So I'm
that's
sorry about that.
terrific, huh? And they
Yeah.
do that, they film that over at Chelsea.
Right. Chelsea
Yeah,
Piers is where their
right.
studios are. And then
I
we do a bunch
forget
of
the
stuff on
episode,
locale.
but I was a court reporter on one of the episodes of Law and
Nice.
Order a few years back. It was an unusual thing. I don't, probably through the internet or maybe casting sites and different things that I'm on, where it was one of those last minute central casting
Oh, good.
contacts you at like 10
Mhm.
o'clock at night and says, Mr. Masters, can you be here at 6 a.m. for, some background as a court officer for Law and Order. And then there was another one where this particular one, it was filmed on the grounds of a university in Westchester. And
Okay.
I was part of the group that I think was going to be, oh no, that wasn't Law and Order. That was a really cool short-lived series on FX called Lights Out.
Oh, I
And
know Lights Out because
yes,
Warren Light
like
was the executive producer on that, and
the
he's who hired
boxer who
me.
comes out of
He's yeah.
retirement
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so he can pay for his kids'
Yeah, that's
schooling and
great.
all the rest. That was a really great premise. And so I was cast in that one to be one of the sort of like the educators, the college professors on the college board, the university board. And that was
Oh,
filmed in
cool.
Westchester on the grounds of one of the universities in Westchester. It was very cool. And, when you're, like you said, when you're on set, you see all these different people and everybody, during the downtime, you're chatting about what you're doing and your career and all these cool things. There was one TV commercial. You'll probably appreciate this. There was a TV commercial campaign that I got cast in New York a few years back. And I was cast as the spokesperson, sort of the host, the spokesperson
Mhm.
for this major automobile chain of dealerships. And I was the spokesperson. And they brought in a female co-spokesperson, which was fantastic. We played off each other. I'll do some, she does some. It's a big, I think it was a Hyundai, Toyota, some of the big names. But the problem was this was the first time that she was ever doing television and television commercials. Her world was really modeling. So she brought her entire modeling portfolio to the shoot.
Oh
Now,
my
I
God,
had worked
so
with the
cute.
director many times before, and I knew his personality. I knew he would, he was out in the parking lot at the dealership because we were filming at one of the main locations, and he was like in this hut that was they built for him in the middle of the parking lot with like the drapes over him so the sun couldn't get in, and he wanted to really see the cameras and the screens and everything, and he was like in this cave that they created. Nicest guy, but he really was particular, and he
Mhm.
would have us shoot something maybe 20 times so he can always have different angles to pull from and different things to pull from. He figured, while everybody was there, get as much as you can because we're all there. Well, this was her first commercial and her
Oh
first
no.
television work, and she brought the modeling portfolio. And while there was the downtime, she was showing all the other actors and actresses her modeling
Oh,
portfolio, and they were trying to tell her, some of the more seasoned actors and actresses, put that away. Don't,
yeah.
you're on a TV commercial shoot. Don't be selling yourself. Don't be promoting your modeling career on a shoot for something totally unrelated. First of all, the owners of the company are here circulating. The
Right.
director is coming in and out, producers, and there's all these people around. And that's not how you do it. That's
Oh,
you're all
shoot.
about this commercial. You're all about this campaign. You're all about this company and all these brand name cars. And then the other thing, I remember the other thing that she did, and they tried to help her. The other on-air talent tried to help her because she had never done it before. She started complaining a little about when the craft services was going to be, the tables were going to be set up, and when the food was going to be ready, and when are we breaking for lunch? And this director was known to keep going if you're fighting against the sun setting because everything has to match. And
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Bring it on. Let's get as much as we can and then we'll eat. And then started complaining about what the food was, and it was fabulous food. Everybody would be like, they're dying for the food and loved it. But it was just too much that she was expressing, and they all were trying to tell her, shh, don't let him hear that you don't like those sandwiches. They didn't bring her back.
Oh, fudge. Oh, that's so miserable. That's a
Sometimes that
sad story.
happens. Yeah.
It does.
Sometimes that happens, It's
Wow.
like crazy stuff,
Yeah, I just well, that was her superpower, right? She was always, that's what she was used to, and
the modeling career.
little fish out of water.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it was cool everybody tried to help her. Everybody was trying to give her advice. Just play it cool, and how did you get on Law and Order? How did that happen for you?
I can't believe you just said Lights Out, because Warren Leight is who I actually, that was an offer. I didn't even audition for that part. Which is always a amazing honor. And I have auditioned for the show multiple times, but they were bringing Barba back. So they were bringing that actor back onto the show. And it was his first episode back. And I had auditioned, so Warren Leight knows my work from other Law and Orders, and I had auditioned for Lights Out too early on, one of the main for the wife actually, but
that would have been
that would have been amazing.
And the series didn't last very long.
No,
it was FX.
Yeah, I went to their big party afterwards too. Because I'm friends with people from FX too. I have really good friends that work in promos and interstitials. So.
Right.
Exactly. So we all went to, I was bummed because I love, I grew up watching boxing with my dad. So I thought the premise was really cool. And I love Warren. I've known him for probably most of my time here in New York. We met socially.
Small world, isn't it?
It is tiny. I love how tiny New York is.
So you're mentioning the Law and Order opportunity coming your way, huh?
Yeah. So he called we'll talk about, we'll get to tapping and spirituality or whatever, or energy.
I'm very familiar with EFT and all.
We are all energy. It's just scientifically proven that our thoughts are energy, and what we think about, the thing that we think about the most oftentimes is what we're met with on our path, so
yes, positive or negative.
Oh, absolutely. So I remember I sat down. I don't know, I'm going to tell a story because I love it, but I sat down on I think it was November 16th, and things are still slow moving, and in this time to 2020. And I was looking at the calendar and I was like, I would love to work one more guest star this year. And I sat down and I journal a lot. So I just wrote, and I always journal in the future tense. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have this amazing job. Probably, it could very well recur into the new year, and it's Christmas, and I bought my mom this. I really fleshed it out with really awesome feelings and a really awesome story. 3 hours later, my manager called me and she's like, I just got off the phone with Warren Leight, and they called us and they said that they'd love to offer you a part on Law and Order as a judge.
Ooh.
They often recur into the new year, and you're going to be on set next week shooting it. Is that okay? Is that cool? And I was like, that's amazing.
That works. Yeah.
So that was awesome. And I told her, I said, I was just journaling earlier that I was like, and I felt bad because I'd already, like I said, a lot of my friends were having we were all having such a hard time, but I'd already worked on Chicago Med that year. So I was like, oh, am I being greedy? I said, I feel like, and I'm like, I'm not taking this away from anyone. And if it was offered to me, it's a huge gift. And I graciously receive it. And namaste. So it was like, I said, yes, this is wonderful. So I did work on the show, and I sacrificed a turkey when I was done, because it was right around Thanksgiving, as give thanks. I cooked a huge Thanksgiving meal and delivered it to shut-in elderly people that I'm friends with and homeless. And I gave all the food away, and I felt so great. And talk about that recharge afterwards. It was probably about 2 days later. I was sitting there, I was journaling again. I was like, oh no, Dena, I'm so happy and grateful. It's Christmas, and I booked not 2, but 3 amazing guest stars this year in the middle of a pandemic. And lo and behold, I booked NCIS New Orleans. Yep. So
what was that like, getting that call?
That was amazing.
Matter of fact, the reaction that you have there in that photo is probably the reaction that you had when you got the call.
Probably, yeah.
It's a freeze frame of the feeling.
Right, exactly. The phone call.
Yeah.
No, it was wonderful.
Tell us about the role you played.
I was gonna say it was a really great part, and it was so in my wheelhouse too, because I played a lieutenant commander helicopter pilot. And so toughy, which is often what I'm, it's like I said, that's in my wheelhouse. I have tremendous strength, and I also have a tremendous heart. So it was a beautiful amalgamation of both, because I was playing this tough naval officer, but my child had been kidnapped. So I really got to show, it was a really diverse, really really wonderful role. And my husband and I that was my husband in the photo. He's had gone off the grid, and we were Katrina survivors too. I got that. I mean, it was really heavy duty material.
Yeah.
I probably self-taped that 3 or 4 times with different coaches, just to make sure that I was like, I don't believe this woman survived this. I don't believe this woman's child was stolen. I don't believe, I'd watch it back and be like, and I finally got it. And I can remember Suzanne Ryan cast me in that. We're coming a full circle. So same casting director. And she, my manager was typing me like right on the deadline. She's like, Dena, she's like, where's your tape? I'm never that late, but I was like, I know it's not right. And I finally, when I sent it off, I was like, I can't do better than that. I was really, really, really proud and really happy. I could watch it back and be like, I believe in the truth of all of this. And it took a while I luckily had, I think I had Friday, the week before. I think it was due Monday morning, and I think I got it maybe Wednesday the week before. So I had a really big chunk of time to work on it over the weekend.
To really work on it and perfect it. And that is so cool. And there's
wonderful.
There's when you were on set with Law and Order SVU. Yeah. So you were the judge.
I was the judge.
Here comes the judge.
Yeah, so I went toe to toe with both of the guys in the courtroom. So it was fun that they put, and I was surprised they let my hair be down. Like, I was like, oh, she's pretty. Look at her. She's fancy. I was surprised. Right? I thought I'd be like really taut and terse and like super manicured, but it was fun that they, like I said, they cherry picked me to actually be in the courtroom with those 2 guys and really go toe to toe with them. So it was wonderful.
Awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. I mentioned also Chicago Med, and that's another, classic. Everybody loves, has always enjoyed that series as well on NBC. That's a cool one, huh? Tell us about this show.
So there's a lot of like odd medical paraphernalia sitting around, and so that they can flesh out the scenes as realistically as possible. So that little that little one was sitting there, and I thought, oh, this would be fun to take a picture with.
Did you have to learn a lot of medical terminology? One of the things people say about the medical shows is all of the terminology that you have to absorb.
Well, actually, because so when I was
You
in
have that
Rochester, we kind of
background.
jumped there, but yeah, I also have a degree in respiratory therapy. So I worked at a hospital for 10 years. So that med speak is like
Was
that for me.
automatic
So
for you.
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
really easy. But I was playing a layperson. I was playing a pedestrian, a mom of a
Yeah.
child who had schizophrenia. So I didn't really need to have a lot of, but I just told my mom a story, which I love. I would love to be on a medical drama because I just like, that's definitely, that would be the perfect
Like Grey's Anatomy or
right?
something like
Oh
that?
yeah, because it's got that quirk, and
Yeah.
also I have that, I have such a big, and I have such an affinity for, like I said, science and medicine, and so
You're also
yeah,
on this
I
one
would
too, The
love to do that.
Path. Tell us about
Oh
The
yeah.
Path. That's another great one.
So the path was wild. I got to work with Sarita Chowdhury. I love her. She was on another TV show. We both worked on Homeland. We didn't
Oh,
work
sure,
together. She
yeah.
played Saul's wife on Homeland.
Mm-hmm.
She's gorgeous. She works all the time, and she was lovely. So, oh my gosh, I can't think of his name right now. Who's the lead in this? Not Jesse Pinkman, but that was Jesse Pinkman. I can only think of his character on
You mean
Breaking
in
Bad right now.
Homeland? Or
No, on The Path. You asked about The Path, right?
oh yeah, yeah. Are you talking about the lead character on The Path?
Yes, he played Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad. I can't think of his name right now. I feel so bad. I almost wrote down everybody's name too.
So we got Aaron Paul and we
Aaron
got
Paul. Aaron
yeah.
Paul.
Yes.
So
He
Aaron
played Eddie
Paul.
Lane.
Yes.
Yeah.
So on the show, it's all about a religious cult, and
Yeah.
he's the head of that movement. Well, season 3, there's a new faction that comes in. So I was actually in a different camp, and that was a really neat, that was a great experience because I was working on that TV show at the same time I was doing a CBS. I was doing Bull. So to work on a CBS TV show it was, the #1 hit show on CBS. And then I was doing like kind of this grassroots, pulled up by its bootstraps, written by a playwright, like we'd go to the compound. It was like, so I go to set at CBS, and then I go to set, get in the little van and go to and I'm not demeaning it. It just was so neat to be on a HULU, a streaming TV show at the same time that I was on a really, high profile CBS TV show. It's so different. It was there's Michael. Yeah.
From Bull, yeah.
So it was really neat. And
I
the
think he's from
characters were
Connecticut.
so
I think it's
different.
from Fairfield or from Fairfield County, Connecticut. Michael.
We can talk more about him in a little bit, but I want to finish you would ask a question. So The Path. So my characters were so different too. I was playing this really dorky, nebbishy attorney, like least likely to succeed. A little bit. I actually had a which was probably one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten. I had a crusty director on one episode, and he didn't introduce himself. He just came up to me and goes, "I don't want any of that Carol Burnett bullshit on my show." And he walked away. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy right now. I was like, "Who is that?" And they're like, "That's the director." I was like, oh giggity. Okay, this is fun. But at the same time,
it's like the guy that was in the hut in the parking lot on the TV commercial campaign. Same sort of.
I was having a little flashbacks or triggers or something. Yeah, when you were saying that, I was like, oh,
sounds familiar.
Okay. Yeah, I know that. So, but and then everyone on The Path was really great. But yeah, it was so neat. Oh, and so that character was a nutter. She had drank the Kool-Aid. So I started off very meek and mild in my first episode. And then by the end of the series, I was in the very last scene of the very last episode. It would have recurred because I come to power. Actually, they pretty much killed everybody else. And I'm in a basement saying, we're going to continue. We're going to, I don't care what they say. We're going to kill everybody. And whatever. I was like, oh, wow. So she had a lot of power and and then the character on Bull was just so smart and loving and very Yeah, it's just, so it was really fun. I got to play two completely different characters on two completely different sets in tremendously different ways that they shot and approached the work and the show.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful learning experience. I felt so grateful.
I mentioned well, Bull, and that is that's another great series. Tell us, how did this opportunity happen?
This was great. So I have a lot of other big casting people that I love and adore. So Kathleen Chopin, I had met her early on in my career, and John Ort, and they were casting it. And I got a call. It was like 10 o'clock at night for the next day, and the audition for Bull. And it was a pilot. And obviously pilot episodes, sometimes you shoot them and you don't ever see them. They don't ever go anywhere. They decide to pull the plug for people who so we didn't know if we were going to be able to even make this TV show. But yeah, so I got the phone call the night before the audition, and this was when this was back in 2016. We were still going into in live. And I didn't have any time to hire a coach or to I was like, I'm up all night, because I got the sides. It was like 10 pages, I think, or maybe 14 pages. I can't remember. And it was the whole courtroom scene that is in the actual pilot that we shot was part of the audition. So it was like 6-page closing argument and thing. So I looked at these, and I'm really pretty good at memorizing. Back in 2016, I might have been a little better after our whole 2 years on Zoom and stuff. But I, so I looked at the sides. I was like, I'm going to memorize this backwards. I'm like, if I wait and don't do this courtrooms, if I start here at the beginning and do this sequentially, I'm never going to, by the time I'm like, I'm not going to. And they pretty much want you memorized when you walk. I just wanted to seem like I'm already got that job. You can just pick me up, put me on CBS lot, plug me in like a lamp. I just want to, So I worked backwards. I did the courtroom scene first, and then I did the second scene, and then the third scene I did last. And I stayed up all night, and it said on the breakdown, it said a somewhat geeky, frazzled attorney. So then it was like putting that's in CBS. CBS terms of that, like how do we, a frazzled geeky attorney on CBS looks very different than a frazzled geeky attorney on on Hulu, typically, or something a little bit more indie. So I sent my manager a bunch of pictures, and then I found out that when I did my research, one of the other characters that had already been cast on the show, a good friend of mine who was playing Marissa, Geneva Carr, she's a blondie too. So I was like, shoot, do you ever see any TV shows with two blondes? I'm like, we're in trouble. So then I'm like, I'm in trouble. She already had the series regular, but I was like, okay. So, and she wears glasses. So it was like all this strategy. I was like, 2 glasses or not 2 glasses.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do with my hair? So I actually wore glasses, because I'm like, she's series regular. She made Down and Zhuzh and Fab, right? So I'm like, I'm the, I'd be the recurring guest. So I did this really dorky hairdo in CBS land, and I wore glasses, and those glasses ended up being the glasses that I wore for the entire series. It was like the guy, Can You Hear Me Now? Can You hear me now? I think they had said that Verizon, the Verizon actor that had those glasses.
Oh yeah, Paul.
They had they had 427 in a vault somewhere. Well, I had like 10 glasses of these discontinued Warby Parkers in my own little safe on set.
I was at an event with Paul, who was the guy that starred in those Verizon commercials. Can you hear me now? And we were talking about that. He lives in Connecticut, and he was working on an indie film. And I was emceeing this big red carpet event that was sort of debuting the film. And it was really cool, because everybody, recognized him as the Can You Hear Me Now Verizon guy with the glasses. But he, he's an actor, of course, and can take on any role. When Verizon stopped using him, now he had mentioned that was an 11-year run for him as the actor. If you get a commercial campaign or something like that where you are, or if you get on a series where you are on it for a long time, that could be very good. But even with commercials, if you are that spokesperson or you are that face of that company or that product, that could be extraordinary. And they used to do that a lot more even years ago, where they had mascots and they had all these different things. But we saw him at the gathering and we were talking to him about it. He said, "You don't understand how many bills, the 11 years of those commercials, they allowed me to do other things. Just the revenue that came in from 11 years of these ads that he loved doing was extraordinary." And then when they decided to, reposition their campaign and do something different, obviously they weren't using them anymore. So then I think it's MCI or Sprint
I think,
said, "Come over here."
Oh, I was curious how I was like, did he say, "Hey, Val"?
They came. I'm like, "Come over here," and now he says, "Can you still hear me now?"
Oh my God, I can't believe yes.
And some people will be like, "How could he do that? He was with them. He should be loyal to them." No. That's a gig. He's an actor. This is his profession. If McDonald's wants you and then 3 weeks later Burger King wants you, I mean, you have to go where. Now, if you totally don't believe in the product, then that's, of course, you don't have to do it. But he's an actor. He's an actor.
Right.
But what a cool thing to happen.
Yeah, I'm always curious about that. I think about Flo too, because Flo from Progressive. I mean, my gosh.
Yes.
So I'm always curious. I'm like, is she pitching ideas to them, saying, "I have this great idea. I'm going to dress up as all these characters," and then because she's sketch. I think she even I don't know if she's from Chicago or something.
Have you ever had those opportunities
to
voice ideas?
No, I haven't. And I think, hey, yes, you can always voice ideas. Have I taken those opportunities, or have I taken the initiative, or have I been proactive about that? No, I'm a big chicken. So, because I even thought about going to CBS after, I'm like, Liberty needs a spinoff. She was like, I have a letter from Steven Spielberg saying that I was his favorite character on the show. So I'm like, why do I not go to CBS with my letter and say, "Hey, we need a Liberty spinoff. This is really important," and pitch a show.
A letter from Steven Spielberg.
So have I had that opportunity? I think we have to make our opportunities. I think we have to create those opportunities. I really do.
Yeah.
I think some people, I love that Sprint said to him, "Listen," and they capitalized on that. I love that he was open to doing that.
So recognized after 11 years as the guy that it almost made sense for them to approach and say, "Hey, we're going to do a campaign and we'd like to bring you in. Can you still hear me now?" Just a tweak of the wording. And
that's great.
You mentioned Liberty, and we've got the Liberty Stairs. Is it reprise? Tell us.
Yes, I've got. So
we'll show that.
That was that. I don't want to be all positive on the show, but that was the Carol Burnett bullshit I was talking about. So in the pilot, and the writers were writing this. This wasn't me, but I loved it though, and it was so memorable. It was such a memorable moment because people would know, when it first started, everybody was watching it. It was so popular. People would say to me, "Oh my gosh, I love the part where you're carrying all the junk up the stairs." And so in the pilot, we shot a scene, and it was an open scene. They couldn't close because we are on the steps of the actual courthouse in New York City. And it's those iconic steps. You've seen them in Ghostbusters and who knows. They've put those steps. You see those steps all the time. So it was an open set. So that means that pedestrians and people that work there are all coming up the stairs with us. So there's this wide shot, and Michael Weatherly's character, Dr. Bull, is sitting there, and this is the moment where he figures out that Liberty's who he's going to put he's going to cherry pick her to be on the team and to do the trial, to be the attorney, the head attorney. He's going to get rid of the other guy. So Liberty's the lackey. She's the gopher. She's like, so they asked me, so I have stacks of boxes and bags and stuff on a dolly. And the props master, who I love the props. They did so many awesome little tiny things for me while I was on the show, that they'd be like, oh, okay. So you're at a party. Do you want a glass of wine? Would Liberty drink wine? Everybody got really involved. I was like, no, I don't think so. Pellegrino. I said, can we do like a Pellegrino? And they're like, top on, top off. I'm like, top on, shoes in my hand. I said, I think we could do that. Like she's got to go back to work. So props got super jazzed because they were the ones that were doing my glasses, and I had a special watch, and I had special pens that I want, anyway, I was having a great time. It was really fun to work on the show. So anyway, they said, what do you want to do? Do you want to wait this or do you want to act it? And I was like, what do you got? So they're like, juicy juice. I was like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, yeah, how many? And they're like, how many you want? I'm like, let's load it up. I go, let's keep trying it. And I'm like, I want it to be really heavy. So they put like 7-gallon jugs of juicy juice in all of these boxes. And so you see in the pilot, I'm like actually step by step trying to get all these legal documents up the stairs. And my boss is like zooms by me on the steps. But while we were taping, every time the director would say action, I'd start to take this tan truck up the stairs, and inevitably a pedestrian or somebody would come up to me and try to help me. So they're like, hey, how are you doing? Are you okay? Do you need some help? I'm like, oh, just on a TV show.
And they say they don't do that in New York. Yes, they do.
No, everybody in my New York is very
Absolutely.
Very lovety.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I was trying to lift this thing up, and I had so many people. Someone come and be like, hey, there's an elevator like right on the side of the building.
Right over there.
Go back down and go around. I say thank you very much. So I stayed in character the whole time. I'm so focused. That's a superpower I have as an actor for sure. So it was hilarious. So that was like almost any time I'd say I was on that show and who I played, people would say, oh my God, I love when you go up the stairs. It was so great. So, because Michael comes to my rescue in the pilot and he helps me. And so we have this moment and I curtsy and so it was really, really fun. So I did, when the show was ending, I did a wrap up on social media. I'd set a goal for myself because I wasn't in the finale. So I was like, oh, I think I can share a bunch of memories that I have about my favorite moments of being on the show. And so the reprise was on the next episode that I was on. They had written in that she was doing the stuff up the steps, and that grumpy, grouchy director said they were going to cut it, and I fought for it, and it stayed in. So I'm really proud of it. It was fun.
That's cool.
So that's what the reprise is. This was my
reprise.
Yeah.
So we have two clips. We've got the Liberty Stairs reprise, and then we got Liberty Steps pilot for Instagram.
So the pilot is the real one. So you want to watch that one first? And I gave away I spoiled it.
Oh well. So we'll take a look at that, and then we'll look at the reprise.
Okay.
Here it is, gang. You're watching the Jim Masters Show. This is your first time here. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jim Masters. Dena Tyler is here, coming to us from New York. My special guest, beloved television actress. Hey, gang, if you're enjoying this, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, and click the notification bell so you never miss any of our great content. Give this episode a like and leave a comment for us as well. And whatever time of day it is around the world, because we have an international audience, we thank you so much for being here. Tell everybody you know, share the lovely about the Jim Masters Show. And now, here is that clip. Enjoy.
Why, thank you, kind sir.
Self-reliance, that's my motto. Do it yourself.
Let's see. My guess is Tropicana orange juice in there.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were going to show it. I should have.
But you made me thirsty when you said all those juicy juice gallons in there. Here's the reprise now.
So I made that little, well, it's a long GIF, but yeah, I thought it was fun.
That
Yeah,
is
it was cute.
funny. You know, a couple of other cool things that people may or may not know. I mentioned it in the introduction too. The hats montage. Tell us about that. That is something really cool.
So yeah, so now all of our auditions are
Self-tape.
self-tape now.
Do you like that?
So I do, but as you probably can glean from this interview, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I'm a bit of a workhorse. So
I can relate. I think, you know, these industries that we're in sort of demand that of ourselves. I mean, we demand it of ourselves, but it also it demands it of us. There's all the timing and everything has to look a certain way and be a certain way and blah, 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 blah. And then probably over time, which is really cool when you talk to folks who are, you know, seasoned, ultra seasoned veterans. They've been doing it for 60 years or whatever. And how they're going with the flow. Like, I've been there, I've done that, I've experienced everything. Just roll with it, just bring it, which is kind of a really interesting thing. But you know what I say? I think this is something that I mentioned to a few people. A couple of guests who are musical performers talked about how they're perfectionists, but the perfection striving for them is really good at what they do, but sometimes really gets in the way, sometimes slows them down, stops them in place because they're constantly they're stuck on that one thing that they're trying to make perfect. So it becomes a struggle. I said, how about this? And you used the word earlier and I chimed into it. I tell some folks, instead of maybe saying I'm striving for perfection, it might be a lot easier to say what you said earlier in the beginning of the show, striving for excellence. Because when you say excellence, you can sort of breathe more. You can sort of, it's not as constraining and confining as perfection. Excellence is like that, but there's a little room to breathe with excellence that sometimes perfectionist doesn't allow. That's from my observations.
No, I love that. That's beautiful. So well said. So
you know,
said.
and so for anybody out there who's struggling with that, just switch up the word and you'll find it doesn't mean that you're giving in or giving up. It just means that you're allowing yourself some slack to breathe.
And to fall down and get back up again, you know?
Right. Exactly right.
And I'm telling myself this is a little bit of self-talk too.
Which is very important. Absolutely. So the hats montage, the hats, huh?
So the hats montage. So yeah, so I had said earlier about the NCIS audition too. It's like I had shot that. I don't even know how I don't know. So the hats montage really doesn't connect to anything. It's just sometimes when I'm shooting, sometimes when I'm getting into character or I'm shooting, I know I have to shoot a video, and if it's a period piece or if it's in this particular case, I was a milliner, so I was a hat maker, that I thought, oh, I love hats and I have lots of hats. And I had just donated like 3/4 of my vintage hats to a costume department. I have a wonderful friend who costumed me when I did Betrayal. And he also works as an adjunct professor at a university, and they have a theater department. So I thought, oh, this will be great. I'll give the kids my hats and then they'll live on. I love it. They're going to have, they're going to be used because they're sitting in my closet. So I gave a huge portion of my hats away. And then lo and behold, I get this audition where I'm a milliner. Well, I'm not supposed to wear hats in the audition necessarily. I guess she could, which I did in part of it. But I started to like pull all of my vintage hats and clothing and costumes and pieces out of the closet to see what I wanted to. So this was an inspirational video that I made that was a tremendous amount of fun. And that was kind of just like a really fun montage and prep for the audition. Like I said, the hat montage really has nothing to do with the audition at all, other than she makes hats. So I just felt like the creativity and and like revisiting these wonderful pieces that I have and who knows where they came from. And
Right.
it was a really fun exercise. And this is what was born out of it.
Here it is, gang, on the Jim Masters Show with Dena Tyler. The Hat Montage.
I think I'm home alone too much. You know,
No, I think
that's
it was
really what the
great,
upshot of
and
it is.
you're,
Thank you.
it's funny because as I saw you in different outfits and different hats, I thought of you in different roles on different, and some of them there was a couple of potential Downton Abbey sort of looks
Oh, I love
there.
that. Thank you. That's a huge
Yeah,
compliment.
yeah. I some of my PBS background, that's what immediately came to be. Um, this indie feature too. We could carpool. Tell us
Thank you.
about that.
That was probably one of my most fun jobs ever, because back to striving for excellence and I'm pretty indefatigable. I do love to work. I love a challenge, and I love to learn, like I said. So this particular film, I shot in 5 different cities. It was really a 3-hander. I was the lead in the film. I don't want to, it was one of those scripts where I was like, why would anybody, why is this important? And so that was a really important or very challenging thing. I was like, I have to get people to care about my struggle, which seemed very privileged, It was like, the basis is a woman who's out of work, like very Ivy League, very top of the food chain, loses her job and just like has nowhere to turn and is really soul searching. It's been done a whole lot, right? And so, but it was their first film. So I was like, that's exciting. I get to work with new filmmakers. I love being on all these different locales and staying in different places, and the crew was amazing. I had to swim in a pool. Like I said, I'm a wuss about the cold. I had to swim in a pool in the winter, and I am not a fish. My sister's a Pisces. I'm Sagittarius. I'm like fire sign of water. I'm afraid of it, and I hate being cold. So, but I was like, and I had to have a bikini on. I'm like, so I worked out like all of the really fun, like I said, raising that bar, striving for excellence, and working with this amazing crew of people that were newbie filmmakers. And we shot 18-hour days because they were way behind on schedule.
Ooh,
I made a gazillion dollars for this poor little, I made the whole budget, like, because they had to give it to me because SAG was like, you didn't let her sleep for 3 hours in the 2 weeks she was there. So you got to pay her.
Yeah.
So, but it was wonderful. So I was working with all new makeup artists, and so we put together nobody ever saw the movie, but we put together a really beautiful project when it was all done. A really beautiful story and fun and heartfelt. And
here's a clip from that, gang. Enjoy. We could carpool.
Can I help you find something? How old are you?
I'm 37.
Do you have kids?
No.
What do you do all day?
I lost my job 5 months ago.
They're hiring baggers at the store.
I get canceled like GMA. But my husband was really bad in that movie. I just have to disclaim that. But that made me sad watching that. But yeah, he started it. But anyway,
who was the actor that was in those scenes with you? Yeah,
Ward. His name is Ward, I think.
yeah,
we could look it up on IMDb.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's
We
cool.
only
When
worked
was
together
that?
one
When was
time, and
that
he was
filmed?
wonderful. It was filmed in Baltimore. We were in Boston. We were in
Oh, you
DC.
were.
I don't know why we went all over the place, but it must be where they could get locales, you know, the pool and the big and the really nice
And
house.
that was how long ago?
The grocery store. That's a really good question. I'd say that was probably, I think that was
before the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool too.
Maybe 2018. I can't remember.
2018. That's definitely before. Yeah. We got a little thing here. It's short, but Times Square billboard, baby.
That was exciting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something, huh?
So I'll tell you what I was saying to it, but yeah, we'll watch.
Here it is.
Thank
on the
you.
big Times Square billboard.
That's it.
Very
I was like,
cool.
Dena, turn around. Turn around.
That makes sense,
Please.
right? To show that you're there.
Yeah. But that was my back. That was my bun. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was super exciting.
You know,
And you know what was funny? It was like I'm dragging my suitcase and I was like going to the Port Authority to go home to my parents. My dad was really sick at the time. And so I was up and down on the bus, the Greyhound bus, because I'd have to go shoot. And then I'd want to take him to an appointment in the morning. And I wouldn't have I wouldn't be scheduled that day. So I'd jump on a bus and go home. And so it was one of those, I'm dragging my suitcase. I think I dropped a bunch of junk and I looked up and I was like, oh my God, that's me.
So you didn't know that was going to be
No.
there.
I had no idea.
And there you were.
I did. I looked up.
That's even better, isn't it?
So it was really neat. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was very,
you got the
very,
effect that people walking the streets got, which was really cool.
It was funny.
I mentioned too, working with Alan Cumming.
Oh,
Instinct.
come on.
Yeah.
Talk about manifesting. Like I had written his name down on something a few weeks before I was doing a workshop for actors, like an out of the box thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about marketing, and there was this really great woman who came from a marketing background that was helping actors to market their careers and stuff. And I had written Alan's name down, and just I don't know, and Fiona Shaw. There was just a bunch of actors that I was like, these are actors that really inspire me, and so yeah, so when I was working on Bull, one of the executive producers spun off and he went to Instinct. And a friend of mine was getting the breakdowns illegally at the time. And I was repped, but I hadn't seen this breakdown for a role that I would have, done, I'm like this, it was a nurse role then. So a lot of med speak in that part. And she's like, did you see that Doug went off and he's doing Instinct with Alan Cumming and there's a role that you're perfect for? And I was like, oh, I don't know if they'll cast me. I'm working a bunch of I was working on a bunch of shows at the time, but I was like, I'm free if the dates work. So I reached out to Doug and he was like, get a hold of casting. So I was like, oh, fudge. And this casting director is not my fan who is casting. It didn't know me at the time. So I said, so I wrote back to him and said, listen, I don't have a connection with him really. I've emailed him, but he hasn't emailed me back. I would really love to throw my hat in the ring for this and be considered. So he reached out to casting, and the next day I was in that office and I was like, oh no, now I got to audition and do a good job. And Doug was sitting there in this casting. I'd never been in for that casting office before. And another writer on Bull had written that episode. I hadn't worked with her. So it was interesting. So it was like some family from Bull that I knew Doug a little bit. He never directed me, but I liked him a lot. So now I was very nervous. I was actually more nervous than I had I been in a room with nobody I knew. But then I was like, I pushed hard to be seen for this. And now I'm like, oh no. So, but good news is I did a great job and I booked it. So
Isn't that cool?
So I got to work with Alan Cumming. It was amazing. Have you met him? I mean,
I was actually at a gathering where I did briefly, and it was the after party for The Visit, which was on Broadway with Chita Rivera.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a gathering. We were invited to go to The Visit, and then we were invited to the after party afterwards, obviously. And Alan Cumming and Chita Rivera and many others were there, and it was terrific. Yeah.
He is
funny guy. Huh?
Yeah. Oh, he's always on. He's always on. But it's just, but I was so smitten. I mean, and so welcoming, like being in a trailer, in the makeup wagon with him, and he's got his little like stickers on his eyes, and he's just hugs, and he's FaceTiming with his mom. He had just bought her some little place in Scotland, and so she's actually like in somebody's garbage, like picking out chairs, showing him, going, can we have, and he's the cutest thing, and she's showing him stuff. He's like, Mom, no, don't take that out of the trash, that's and she's like, and then you see her like tootling off with the chair, and and he's like, and he's hugging me, and he's saying, Mom, this, she's on their show today. I mean, it was like, that man is so fun and lives life so fully and so passionately. I can remember he was organized, I think every Sunday. He's vegan, I'm pretty sure, if I remember that correctly. He has pretty strict what he eats, is very he's very careful. But he had I think every Sunday they have, from what he told me, they have a dozen people over every Sunday for dinner, like friends, and then they do vegan dishes, and then they do. So I can remember, well, I was on set for, I was on the whole episode. So I was on set for like two weeks, 8 days or 9 days that spanned 2 weeks. And so I can remember 2 Sunday dinners that he was orchestrating while he, with his 2 personal assistants, while they were, and what they were going to pick up the tofurkey and the, all the accoutrements and tofurkey. Yeah. And, but he's so loving. And I don't even know how he's accomplished. I mean, he's delicious. That was such a treat. And so that picture, he took that picture.
Oliver Platt.
Yeah. He's like, he goes, we'll take pictures. He said, but I'm in charge. So he would, and this man, Oliver Platt, I have always been a huge fan of his work. Always. Like, I've always had such an affinity for him as his essence and his spirit, and the fact that he was, and it exceeded my expectations working with him.
Yeah. Oliver Platt. He's
beautiful.
Great.
Yeah. Barbara. Great. I Googled her subsequently because I was like, I wonder what Barbara's doing now. And she's been working a whole bunch. She's great.
Now, for those tuning in, tell us about her.
So Miss Rosa, she played Miss Rosa on Orange is the New Black.
Right.
So this was a great scene. It was really fun to be in this episode. She actually goes off the prison site to get chemotherapy, and she befriends this this kind of scrappy teenage boy. And I'm a total biatch. In fact, they nickname me, my name in the episode is Drunky Bitch, because I actually drink on the job. So she's already cased the joint. They're these two, he's like this, like I said, he's a little bit of a delinquent teenager, and she's like this mastermind criminal. And so they're sitting side by side getting their chemotherapy, and they're like, they pull this scam on me. I'm kind of a little rude to him, and he's like, she's a bitch. And she's like, she's a drunky bitch. So they decide they're going to steal my wallet. So so it's a really fun episode that they dupe me, and they steal she creates a diversion, starts talking to me about my diamond ring, or cubic zirconia. I don't know what I had, but my my fiance was working at like Pathmark or something. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just
No,
saying.
that's it.
But
Yeah,
I'm talking about my
absolutely.
beautiful diamond
But
stuff.
you're
So
talking about the
she
beautiful
creates the diversion, and then he goes
Ye-
off and he gets in
goes
my
off and
he
that
gets
is
in my bag and steals my wallet. So it was really fun.
yeah, Freddie
Freddie.
Rodriguez. Yeah.
Freddie's wonderful. For all
When
of you
was
that watch.
this? Yeah, tell the audience about this one.
Well, Freddie was on 6 Feet Under. That's probably what you love him
Yeah.
from. And so Freddie played an attorney on Bull. So we worked together in a few episodes. We were working hand in hand early on in the first season of Bull to because I worked for the district attorney. Bull stole me for a little while, and then I got a really big job offsite. So I would consult on the show. So Benny, he played Benny on the show. So he was Bull's first-hand man in the first season, and they would bring me in as a consultant. So Benny and I would try, when they thought, because it was all about trial science. It was really fascinating. They would, from the voir dire, where you actually profile the jurors and ask questions, which I love because of my neuroscience background.
Right.
I was such a geek about it. Body language, and like when you tent your fingers, like during a cross, that means that's open. You're telling the audience, you're telling the jury that like if I'm cross-examining, or if I'm if I have an expert that's a doctor and I say so Dr. So-and-so says that that it takes this long in order to do this procedure and blah blah, my hands tented mean that they can trust what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But then you'll see me in the courtroom where you cross your arms and you don't, a lot of body language that's defying what you're saying. Okay, so you're an expert doing this, and so you're the top person. Okay. And so when so all this body language and psychology was really, really neat to it was really neat to investigate, and there's huge. I mean, so Dr. Bull was based on Dr. Phil's life when he was like one of the most prolific trial consultants ever. And that was where he actually Dr. Phil, I'm sorry, I'm in New York City. So Dr. Phil.
An episode of Blue Bloods.
I know. Sorry.
And you were on that too. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Tom Selleck and gang. Wow.
Oh, classic.
Yeah.
So Freddie Rodriguez. Yeah. So we would sometimes, like, if they had a woman in the seat, like they felt like maybe I could persuade. I remember there was one trial that he picked me over, he had me come in special. Bull did. He hired me to come in and try the case because it was all about a woman who had lost a child. She went in for an easy procedure, and the baby was aborted. And so they felt like having another woman in the courtroom defending the doctor would actually sway the jury in a way that they would be more warm and sympathetic toward me, which I'm a very warm and sympathetic person. So it was all strategy in the courtroom, how you get the jury to vote the way you give you the verdict that you want. So
right.
So Freddie and I worked together a bunch, and he's lovely. He married his childhood heart sweet. He's a Chicago guy. I was going to mention Chicago earlier. I mean, Chicago people too, salt of the earth, like so great. Yeah, Freddie's beautiful. He's such a family guy too. There's John Doman. You guys have seen him in a million gazillion things. He's lovely.
What were these from for the audience?
So these are, we did a short film together. And he played my husband. I'm dead and I'm in heaven. And he actually, I think in his imagination, he can have a visit with her one last time. He's sleeping and he imagines he goes to see her and talk to her. I think he's ending I think in the film it was it was kind of implied that he's nearing the end of his life. And so, yeah, it was beautiful working with him. It was a quick, we shot that movie in a few days.
Yeah. You're talking about The Path earlier too. There's a great shot from that.
Oh, there's Sarita. Yeah, she's beautiful. So she was the new baddie on season 3.
She was.
So I was her follower. Yeah.
That is cool. We also have, this is great, some of these headshots too.
Yeah, that's my that was from a headshot session that I did.
I like this one too.
That's a new
We
one.
used this one in the promo.
You
It's a
did. I
very
almost wore that shirt too. I was like, I'm gonna wear red because
yeah,
it's Christmas, but then
yeah.
thank you.
That's a
Yeah, those
that's a great one.
thank you. It's playful and
It
fun.
is, right, exactly. It's
So
like, "Hey, I'm gonna be on the Jim Masters show. Join
well,
me."
that's exactly
That's
what it was.
about
I
it.
was like, I'm hoping I'm putting it's just like all the Law and Orders. I was like, I'm hoping I'm gonna be on the Jim Masters show, so I better up my game.
Speaking of all of this, there's something else, in order to up your game, you have to have fearless acting. Tell us about this.
This
We
is
have a clip
cool.
here we want to show too, but that's near and dear to your heart. Tell us all about it. It's cool.
It is. It's super cool. So, like I said, I have huge science background. I studied neuroscience and thought I was destined to be a doctor. And I wanted to do pediatric cardiac surgery. So it wasn't, and like this was a path that I was on for a really long time. But neuroscience is always I've always kind of kept my finger in a few pies about neuroscience, neuroplasticity, the power of our thoughts. And like I said, all science based, all based on energy um, and quantum physics. And so I was always read different books and different publications, different studies that people were doing to keep up with. I mean, not like when I was studying it at university, but so I came across a video on YouTube about a thing called emotional freedom technique. It's actually energy work that you can do on your own body. So it actually combines ancient Chinese medicine, ancient Chinese acupressure, and modern psychology. So you actually use your fingers, you use your body to tap on meridians alongside your body. And they did studies when this technique was first developed, or I mean, it's like I said, this is from a long, ancient Chinese, no acupuncture. But Gary Craig, I think his name is, developed this therapy, and they did studies on it, and the studies were so skewed in its favor that they had to throw them all out because they had like a control study. They were comparing people who, let's say you were just doing, this is called tapping or emotional freedom technique. So they would have people, what they were measuring are the levels of stress hormones in your body, cortisol, yucky stuff that dumps into our bodies when we're anxious. That's our body's response to anxiety and stress and fear. And they showed a couple different groups. They would show a control group where it was they did one group that was just psychotherapy. They were just really kind of digging in deep, digging up old bones, trying to get them to change their belief system and heal their wounds. Then they combined the psychotherapy and the tapping. Then they did a group that was just tapping. And when they compared all of these, the tapping group had almost the same decrease in the stress hormones as the combined tapping and psychotherapy,
Right.
which surpassed just psychotherapy.
Yeah.
So they were like, wait a minute. So like I said, it seemed so flawed that they had to do the study over like another 5 years and do it all over again. And they got the same results.
I've
So this
interviewed a
is
lot of people who do that
scientifically-
work, and it's fantastic.
And
Yeah.
they do it, and it's wonderful for PTSD. I know that San Quentin prison, they had a tapping, anybody people who are rehabilitating back into society that have been that have been in the military.
Real, rough situations that they've witnessed.
Yeah,
It's also great if you're stuck in heavy traffic.
I was tapping before we started. I was like, you can't see because you can there's actually meridians, like there's points on that's the gamut. There's different points. Like if you just do, or the karate chop point. Yeah. You could even do that on a chair while you're under the table thing, Christmas when your in-laws or whomever is like driving you nuts. I told my sister, I don't know who's watching, but anyway, I was like, pay attention. It's a little ninja tapping under the table. But yeah, so I knew nothing about this, but I'd seen it on, it was a Friday night. I was like, I don't feel like going out. I just want to stay in. And I was browsing
look
YouTube.
around, see what's out there.
Yeah. So there were a couple people that I really, Louise Hay, who had published many wonderful, she had a publishing company called Hay House, who publishes a lot of really wonderful books. She's passed away, but I saw her on a video. She was tapping, and Nick Ortner, who wrote a book called The Tapping Solution, was bringing her through a tapping round. And I was like, I don't know anything about this. And I remember Dr. Wayne Dyer was with Nick too. And I was like, I've never even seen this before. I don't even know what this is. I'm like, but I am all about science. And if I can do something that's is proven to decrease my stress hormones in my body, I'm like, I'm going to try it. So the same night I found my friend Brad, I was watching, he's got thousands. His name is Brad Yates, Yates. And he has a million free videos online, all different topics. So I picked a few that I started to and I had the links, and there was one that was, let's see. Of course I can't, that's something I should have written down. But anyway, there were three that was My True Value was one of them. Oh crap. One about greatness, allowing yourself to be great. I'll think of these in a minute. I'm nervous now. I don't know why. I just all of a sudden, because I'm not an expert on this. Yeah. Allowing greatness. There we go. See how fast that works? Boom. So I was like, I'm going to do a challenge. I started to do these videos. I was like, oh, this feels really good. I feel better. And I started to really, really quickly change my belief system around work. I'm like, I do deserve to have really great acting career. Like I said, my trajectory was different. I don't have this fancy pedigree from Yale or Juilliard. I don't, like I said, I got that Law and Order job, which is tippy top, great job that, and I felt a little bit like a hack because I'm like, I'm not repped. I'm not in the union. So Brad and I I did a couple programs that he had offered. It was like a money magnet class that he taught on, that was an e-class. And I did that. And I had been tapping for 40 days straight. And that's when I booked Liberty.
Wow.
So it was the biggest job of my whole career. And
there's something to that 40 days, 40 nights thing, huh?
It was 40. Yeah, 40 days. 40 days in. That was the day I booked that role.
So that ties into the Fearless Acting video?
It does. Well, he came and visited, and I went to go see him at a live event. And he had emailed me and said, I want to talk to you before you make sure you come up to me and introduce yourself. Because I'm always chiming in. I'm very chatty. And there's people that have written some really beautiful comments too that I want to address. So thank you.
Lovities,
and Maureen.
Thank everybody.
Yeah, everybody. Everybody's written some really beautiful, beautiful
stuff. Our Lovities watching around the world.
Yeah. And I want to do some people have asked questions about me. So I promise I'm watching you and I'm sending you lots of lovity. And trying to answer the question. But so Brad, we talked and he said, I am a recovering actor. He said, I started out in the biz, and he's like, and now this is my calling. And he said, I have an idea and I want to see what your thoughts are. Can we go to lunch? So we became wonderful friends. It took us about a year to come up with a plan. This was, like I said, I was working a bunch. I was on 2 TV shows, and he lives in the Bay Area. So he said, fearlessacting.com. He said, I bought that domain, and he said, I really want to help actors shine out as bright as they can. I want to be able to help actors to overcome fears, change their subconscious beliefs so that they can really share their gifts and talents with the world. And I said, I'm on board. I said, how do we do it? What do you want to do? So we can watch, you want to watch the video and then we can talk a little more about it.
Take a little bit of a look at Fearless Acting. Gang, if you're watching for the first time, I'm your host, Jim Masters. This is the Jim Masters Show, live entertainment, lifestyle, variety talk show series. Dena Tyler, brilliant actress extraordinaire, joining us here from New York City. Wherever you're watching, whatever time of day it is, morning, noon, or night, thanks for being here. We are broadcasting live, but this episode will also be archived on our YouTube channel, Gym Masters TV. Give it some levity, leave a comment for us, subscribe, and share the levity, share the links in all your social media. Tell everybody about the Gym Masters Show, where we're bringing back that lost art of conversation, old school vibe with a modern vibe. The two worlds meet. And now here's that clip of Fearless Acting.
Some of my friends are the most talented, wonderful, imaginative, creative people that I know, and they're struggling. They're really stuck in their careers. I know it's their mindset. It's the way that they're looking at things that's holding them back. We have these subconscious beliefs. One of the limiting beliefs that I had was I wasn't ready, or I wasn't worthy and deserving of this. All these different belief systems that hold us back, all these fears that we bottle up. And EFT helps you to unleash these fears, to let go of these fears, so that you are fearless, not only when it comes to your career as an actor, but also in your craft. And it lets you be a more full, free, fearless actor, artist, doing the work that you love, and reaping the benefits of sharing your gifts and talents with the world. I'm so excited to share this with you.
Cool stuff, huh?
Yeah, I'm really proud and so honored to have been a part of it. And like I said, I'm not an EFT specialist, but I certainly am a specialist at knowing what scares me, what holds me back, what these labels that we put on ourselves. If I put a label on myself, I'm not ready, or too old, too blonde, or not enough, not talented enough, not pedigreed enough, not, then we're wearing those around. We're wearing those labels around, and they're really stopping us from having, everybody deserves to do and have the things that make them happy. And
so true.
Yeah.
So
I feel, so it was really fun. So I helped him come up with a different topic. So it was, so it spans a month. So you watch a different video. It's evergreen. So it's still available. So if anybody wants to check it out, it's fearlessacting.com. And so the program is still active. We haven't been able to do a live. Brad just came. I just saw him just 2 weekends ago, and I helped. We were at he did a live event in New York for the very first time since the shutdown.
Since the whole,
but we launched the program.
We whisper pandemic.
Okay, yeah.
So YouTube doesn't go too crazy.
Pandemic. What he said.
Yeah.
And
BC, BC used to be before Christ. Now it's before COVID.
So I say BC too. Yeah.
BC. Yeah. What are some of the blessings and joys that keep you motivated and keep you going? Obviously you've been doing this for a good amount of time, and it takes a lot of determination and tenacity, patience. Some of the things I talked about earlier that sort of you absorbed early on growing up, in the small town in upstate New York with the family values and watching them work hard and do what they have to do to get supper on the table and everything keep moving forward. What are some of the blessings and joys in your world right now that keep you moving forward?
I've been blessed with passion and with creativity that and like I said, this insatiable, the striving for excellence in everything that I do. I'm the kind of person, or I've developed into the kind of person who can get enjoyment out of almost anything. So, and it's really important especially in my career, when I don't get a job, let's say something I've auditioned for that I'm, it's a beautiful gift for someone else. So, so I have a really great perspective, and I've cultivated that, and I nurture that. So EFT, for example, is a tool that I have in my toolbox that I can use to keep myself balanced and feeling good. I also know, like I said, my science background, I know that I can change my outside world. I know that I can. And it's not necessarily, this is new learning for me. It's not necessarily with hard work. It's not this old, it can be easy. And we've talked about many examples of that Bull the night before. I get the audition the next day. I go in there and I ace that audition. I didn't, versus my NCIS when I spent the entire weekend, or my hat montage where I got to make a masterpiece, my personal masterpiece, make something really fun in order to give myself permission maybe to do. So I think I've gotten better at giving myself permission to, like you said, not strive for perfection, to strive for excellence in everything that I do, and look at everything is a link in the chain of my excellence, whatever this perceived failure or falling short of something. So I think my perspective my heart is a huge gift. I love big, and I care a lot about everyone, and I want everyone to feel, especially when I'm around them. I definitely, my goal in my family, and I've learned a way to love that's more nurturing and more fulfilling because I give more now than ever before. So that's really, really special. I have a doggie, and I love her. She's not here right now. Yeah, I would
They would
show
love
you.
that, huh? Yeah.
She looks like her
what's her
name
name?
is Evie, and she's a Shih Tzu. I should have included a picture, but I didn't. Oh, I think there is. I thought maybe I put a picture of her and I in there with a billboard, a bull when I first. But that's
I think
okay.
it might be, yeah.
There might be a picture. That's okay. She looks like a little baby Chewbacca. So she's a little. Oh, there she is. She all woolly. You can't even see her. Yeah, that little fluffy fur ball is the love of my life. She's so sweet. So she's a Shih Tzu, and she's
sorry, Michael, you're taking a back seat to Evie.
Exactly. I made a Christmas card out of that. We had to eat little hats on, and anyway, I didn't include that picture, but yeah, my dog keeps me. She's therapy. I turned New York City into like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood for me too. Like it's really important for me to maintain those close relationships with people that I see day to day. I know, my Abdul, who works at the fruit stand, and I know everybody. Like, it's really important to me to know people's names and to find out about people and to learn about what fulfills them, and like I said, to share that. And I've always had that. I remember I was shoe modeling early in my career, and I was my boss. We went to Starbucks, and I walked in, and everyone was like, Dena. I'm like, hey, Bob, hey, Bill, hey, Stephanie, how? And she's like, you don't even live in this neighborhood. And I'm like, no, but I said I've been working the shows with you guys for a long time, so I know the people that work here. So she was like, you live in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood in New York City. I was like,
how you doing? Yeah.
How you doing? Norm. I don't know. Like, cheers.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody knows your name, huh?
Yeah.
That's cool. So you're loving the ride. You're loving it all.
I love the ride. I love the
learning,
moment.
lifelong learner, and sharing and paying it forward and loving the ride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, staying present and grateful for what we have right now is the best. This is the only way to live for me. If I start worrying about what's ahead or start going backwards and trying to change, you can't change the past. You can only, So it's still, it is learning, and it is sometimes days are easier than others, but staying really, and I have much to be grateful for. I have my health. I have so many people that love me, and
that's big.
I have so many people that I love, and I love all of you guys. I love all this support in the chat too. All these great.
That's one of the things that I said when I launched this show 2.5 years ago is, the interaction, because I've done so much live television and live radio over the years. I love the interaction. I love the response. I love the opportunity to engage and bounce off and learn from and all, as opposed to just talking at. I love talking with, even though I'm the host and I'm sort of conducting the train and conducting the orchestra. I like to bring us all in bring all the musicians in and bring everybody in. So they are kind of like our studio audience around the world. They'll love it watching the ones that are commenting and the ones that are just quietly watching, and they'll comment later on the YouTube channel or something.
Yeah. And they're so like Tim is giving me so many compliments, and I have a little family on here too. Kylie and Zach, I love you guys.
Yes, they commented as well.
Yeah.
This really has been awesome.
Maureen,
what's coming up? What do you have coming up that you're excited about? Here come the holidays. So I hope you have a great holiday season.
The holidays. So that's a good segue, because Tim asked what I love to do about the holidays. I actually was like, I was going to ask you, and I don't have this set up, but I was thinking, like you said, this is like kind of old timey talk show. But I was like thinking, because I've been at home with my mom a bunch. And whenever I'm there, she plays, Rachel Ray is on. So I was like, oh, we should do a cooking thing. I was going to make a salad and then give the recipe. And then I was going to do Christmas cookies. And I put Christmas cookies decorated in a folder when I sent you the link. But I love food. I'm a foodie. And I love everything.
Yeah, me too.
I love I cooked everything for Thanksgiving. Well, my mom and I, but we make homemade pies, like I said, because that's my background too.
Sure, right.
So
That's
I
cool.
love.
You ever go to the Rachel Ray show? We were there. We got a friend of mine, Kathleen, who's actually watching. We got a chance to go to the Rachel Ray show, and that was cool. Right there in the city. But
super cool.
We hope to get back into doing some of that, only because, I love to be in the TV studios, and put me in a studio, and I love all that. But obviously with the pandemic, all of that was, you couldn't do any of that, but that was a lot of fun too. So you're a foodie, love to cook, huh? What is what is a specialty? What is a Dena?
I love
specialty?
Everything. I do. I love everything. I mean, like beef cheek ravioli, coxcomb. I mean, like you name it, I'll try it. And when I was in China, which, I mean, who knows what I ate there? I have no idea. But scorpions and tarantulas, and I had a bite. But in the hot pot is mystery meat. You have no idea what that is.
Could be anything.
But
right?
yeah, it's very spicy and just chewy. So just whatever it is.
Potpourri of whatever.
Yeah. So what do I love? I mean, I do love to bake. So I love pies, and cookies are really tippy top.
My mom's but that. Yeah.
Is she?
Yes. Can't wait to, we're gathering for, a couple of weeks with everybody for the holidays in Florida, and we cannot wait. And there's going to be a lot of cookies and a lot of all that. Yeah. All the traditional Christmas feeling and vibe and decoration and,
I love decoration.
The presentation of it all still happens like when we were kids. It was done.
Oh, that's beautiful.
The family still keeps all of that going with the beautiful, beautiful decorations and the music and the food and the family and the home and hearth and all that. And my mother's a big Santa collector too. She used to do a lot of ceramics too. She used to make, those Christmas trees with the little lights that you would go to Macy's and you could pay, $100 for. She used to make all of those.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she made. There's a lot of things, villages, and she made a lot of those things. She's collected a lot of them, and she's probably got 200 different Santas. I mean, they're all over every inch of the house.
I'm coming to your house.
It's really
sorry,
something.
Mom.
It's
I can't.
I tell you, I've always loved Christmas, one of my favorite holidays. As crazy as it sounds, I've actually, and I said it before, and it does surprise me that I even say it, I actually like Christmas Day even more than my own birthday.
I love that.
Because,
that's beautiful. It says a lot about you.
It's a family thing. It's a whole, to me, it ties into all the senses. So you have all the Christmas specials for, all these weeks leading up. You got all the Christmas music playing. You've got everybody sort of in this festive spirit. You've got lights everywhere and concerts and town greens with trees. And then there's the, love of God, that aspect of it. Then you have family. Then you have gifts, and you have cards, and you have music, and you have all the foods, and you have the Christmas music coming on that you've heard ever since you've been on the planet. All these lullaby like Christmas music that we hear. So no
Yes.
matter what goes on throughout the entire year, all the craziness, nuttiness of the 12 months, once again, here it all comes. And it's sort of like, I don't know, like a blanket that envelops us. Says, okay, all right, this was a crazy year, but we're coming back with all of this feeling again, and the meaning of life, and all of this to wrap up the year and give you a head start to the new year. So you're touching about, you got lights, you've got food, you've got God, you've got family, you've got love, you've got music, you've got gifts, you've got all the Christmas movies, Christmas specials, and all of this thing going on. It's really touching upon all of your senses. So
Yeah.
it's been always something I've always loved. And then childhood memories and
I was gonna say it brings you back to your youth
relatives,
too.
the
Like,
aunts, the uncles, the cousins. And but I always hated the day after when everything
oh
sort of
shoot. Oh,
stops.
the
And
letdown?
the whole day, the buildup of the day, and then
Oh,
that
you're a
day
big kid.
after where everything's sort of just kaboom and everybody's back on the highways. They're in the stores pushing and shoving, returning everything, and they're angry on the
Oh,
roads again.
and the spirit, that's another thing too, is like the spirit
The
in the like
spirit of
it's
it
like
all.
you're like everybody opening doors for each other.
It's
And
a
yeah,
whole
there's
cool
such
thing. And
a
I've
different
always
rhythm.
said, I operate that way throughout the year. So for
I
me,
do too.
when Christmas comes, it's not like, oh, okay, I'm going to be extra nice. I'm going to be extra thoughtful. I'm going to hold the doors. I'm going to think of people. That's what I do all year long. I mean, it's
Right.
heightened maybe because everybody else is sort of doing it, and my family, we would definitely do it. But I mean, the world is maybe softened a little bit, and not everybody has had the luxury of having the kind of Christmas that we're talking about. There's a lot of people who've
Right.
never experienced that, or they're they're going through a really tough time, and there's been
Mm,
losses, and just maybe they've never had the family sort of situation that you've had and I've had, that we're
yeah.
blessed to have. Um, so just surround yourself with whatever levity that you can find, even if it's just with a friend, or there's always people out there who care. Sometimes you think there aren't anybody who care, but there is levity out there. You just sometimes have to look a little harder. These days, it does seem like we have to look a little harder. Everybody's angry,
Mm,
upset. There's all this back and forth nonsense. And you talk about Sagittarius. I'm a Libra, so we're balance and
ooh,
harmony. I'm
yes,
like,
yes, yes.
we crave balance, harmony, and bringing
Mm.
people and balancing it out. We loathe injustice. We see both sides of a question. Then I've got Virgo rising.
Oh, I've got Virgo rising too.
Yeah. So that's where that
Yeah.
perfectionistic part,
Hmm.
organized part comes from. It's the Virgo rising from what I've learned. There was a friend of mine years ago at public television. She was in New York, actually on Long Island, and she's like co-host of mine. And she's like, Jim, I got to do your chart. Jim, I got to do your chart. She's begging me to do my whole astrological chart. She says, you've got this vibe, this aura, you've got this. I'm being commanded to do it. And
Wow.
she did it, and it was really interesting. One of the things that popped out really strongly, she said, you know what? There's one thing that if you let go of it, it would make your life so much easier. And I said, well, what could that be? She said, it's the fact that um, and I've adjusted, I've learned, but you worry too much about whether or not you're pleasing people. You're a pleaser.
Ah.
So
Ooh.
you're a pleaser, an automatic person that likes to please people.
Hmm.
So you actually enjoy it. It's not that you feel like it's something you're forced to do. You actually get pleasure out of doing it. But she said the problem is you are concerned about whether you're doing it. And if you would just lay off that, don't even give it a second thought, because your personality automatically does it for you. Your personality, when you walk in the room or whatever, just automatically does that. So don't think about whether you're doing it, because you're automatically doing it and you don't even have to realize it. And, I thought about it yesterday. We were at Staples.
Yeah.
We were getting a new computer chair for our computer system. And this has happened so many times to me. and I couldn't believe it. And there was a friend that was with me as well. And all of a sudden, I'm at the counter talking to the guy about the chair. And all of a sudden I feel like there's somebody next to me, and there's this cute round-faced kid with these big blue eyes. Now his father and sister and the others were probably, 15 feet back behind us. I'm not even like really in a line or anything where the kid would be in line. I look down, and there's this kid who must have been 7 or 8, just looking up with sort of this pumpkin shaped face, big cheeks, just smiling at me. No words said, nothing said. He just came out of nowhere, stood right next to me. Now, I'm not even facing him where he could see the face, and maybe I like made a funny face that brought him over. I'm looking this way, and all of a sudden I look out, and there he is, and he's looking right up at me, through me, smiling, and then he just disappears and goes away. And I'm like looked at my buddy, and I'm like, again? What? Again? This happens to me all the time. There's something that's, I don't know what it is,
Your
magnetic.
cute little nugget magnet. Yeah.
It happens all the time, and it happens with animals. I've gone to friends' houses with friends where we've never seen that dog before that's in that house, and the dog is growling at the friends, but I'm sitting on the couch, never saw the dog before, and the dog is on my lap licking my face, but growling at everybody else. You know what I mean? It's just that kind of thing. So I've been very in tune with how people react to me, and the different segments of society that just gravitate. And sometimes they'll say something like a dog licks the face, or a child just looks at you and then smiles and goes away. I've had that happen on so many occasions that it's just really, it's very cool. I can't define it, but it's very, very cool.
Well, you're magnetic. Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but
you're a lovity magnet.
The kid he was a cute kid.
Super cute.
I was like, this was really, this was cool. I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, Dena, and you enjoyed the time with me.
This has been wonderful. I can't thank you enough. And like I said, thank you. Tim's been writing some great stuff.
Everybody,
amazing. Everybody. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm hoping everybody has, and like you said, I love that you said that too. Everybody's got different levels of challenges, financial and otherwise, in their lives this holiday season. But I send you all my love and best wishes. And if I'm a wide open, easy to reach online person, so if somebody is really struggling and needs a shoulder to lean on, or needs a present or something that I can help with, let me know, because that's
how I look at it. Right. Yeah.
I'm here for you guys.
It's very, very important. What would be a final thought maybe about our conversation, or about the show, or about anything you want to say or share, my friend?
Let's see. I'm trying to see if there was any even loose ends that we didn't. I don't think so.
And if there are, we're going to keep the porch light on so you can come back.
Yeah. Oh, that would be lovely. Oh my gosh.
And we're in the tri-state area here anyway, so hopefully we'll get together at some point, break bread. That'd be cool.
Oh, that would be, please
Small world. We know so many people. Yeah. Of course, Wayne Scott Lucas.
Yes.
Incredible. Yes.
Ronald Rand, which is
Ronald Rand.
So that's how I've come to even be here. So thank you.
Isn't he great?
He's beautiful. Yeah, we've been friends for a really long time.
Yeah.
I love that he's keeping that publication going too.
He was a guest on our show. Brilliant. And he was referred to me by somebody else. Originally when I started the show 2.5 years ago, it was just me talking to camera, hosting, doing what I do professionally. And I'm talking to camera and having fun stuff and talking to an audience back and forth. And then people that I interviewed on television over the years, and radio, people I interviewed on PBS and everywhere else, all the Celtic woman ladies, all the different
I
people.
saw that interview. That was
They
amazing.
wanted to come on the show,
Those were
and
amazing.
then it started turning into where guests want to come on from Hollywood and Broadway and music and film and food and sports, comedy, whatever it is, inspiration. And people just started wanting to come on. And then I started inviting people, that I know, and then they would come on and they would enjoy it. And then they started telling sort of friends of theirs who are in their line of work, industry, whatever, you should go on the show. I had a great time. And then it's just really snowballed. And now it's a situation where there's PR people and managers and agents and all of these people, casting people, who now contact us and say, we saw the show, or we represent that person, and now we have this other person, and we love what you're doing and how it's so unique. It's not just a quick, tell us about the movie, 10 minutes in and out. There's enough of that out there, and it's not necessarily like a typical interview show. It's more of a conversational style. Yeah. We want to put this person on and this person on. So it's become like that, and just the word spreading, and it's exceeded anything I could have thought. Initially it was just going to be me chatting, with an audience, whoever they may be, an aside to my work in television, radio. And now it's become like a full-time thing. I get to sleep at 2:00 in the morning, and not almost 900 episodes later. It's
holy cow.
That's a lot. We had Loretta Swit on from MASH, and she was fabulous. And she lives in New York, and she was at her apartment. She's also a brilliant painter too. And
I didn't know that.
She's got the organization Swit Heart. She's very big with animal rights advocacy. She's very big with that. She's amazing. We were talking about the 50th anniversary of MASH, and she was really, really amazing when she had come on, and she was laughing, and she was talking about how MASH had been on for 11 years and they did 230 episodes.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. That's great.
And we're at almost 902.5 years.
Exactly. I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you've done it.
It's Levity extended, right? Levity. Oh, look, Alan's here. Welcome, Alan.
My best friend in the whole world.
Rochester's in the house.
I love him.
Isn't that cool?
So good.
Yeah.
So
Gang,
good.
you guys are the best. Everybody, thanks for being here. Happy holidays. Blessings to everybody. We appreciate all of you being here. This is our Levity squad. Those are watching and typing in our Levity chat room. Others that are quietly watching, or we'll hear from them later with our international audience. Thanks so much for being with us.
Send you all my love, everyone. And like I said, if you are having a hard time too, Brad Yates has many tapping videos. If you just type in Brad Yates into YouTube, and you mentioned for holidays and stuff, he's got lots of.
You mentioned people that I'm very familiar with too. Wayne Dyer, of course, Deepak Chopra, all of these people who are extraordinary that I've had an opportunity to meet over the years. Wayne, of course, we lost, which is unfortunate, but his legacy lives on. And I'm very in tune with what you're talking about, and loved having you here. So spread the word about the show. If you know of others you think would like to pop on.
I've already got a mental list.
You're already going
there.
And continue striving, not for perfection, but for excellence, my friend.
That's the best gift. I received that.
High five.
High five. Woo.
All right. New York's in the house, upstate and Long Island originally for both of us.
So
that's it. You're the best.
Thank you so much, everybody. It was such a gift. It was so beautiful to be with all of you tonight. I feel so honored, and thank you.
The pleasure starts right here, and I really, really enjoyed it. And again, I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, Dena.
Far surpassed and exceeded. So yeah, it was next level amazing.
Thank you very much. And as my father has always said, please put that in writing and address it management. He used to always tell us that when we were kids. If anybody ever says anything kind or nice to you guys, ask them to please put it in writing and address it management.
Oh, I love that.
That is so true, huh? I mean, he was like 9 years old and he's telling us this sort of adult advice, but
That's the best advice.
It holds true today.
And yes, you can impart that and gift that to all of us. It's wonderful.
Thanks. You be well and Merry Christmas, and
right.
let's stay in touch, my
Happy
friend.
holidays.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Thanks
Chat
so
again soon.
much.
You be well.
Bye. Woo.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Dena Tyler here on the Jim Masters Show. How cool was that? You guys enjoy it? We had a great time with her. Boy, we covered a lot of ground, didn't we? We sure did. We were here, there, and everywhere. And if you missed any of it, well, all you have to do is go back in the archives and you can see this entire episode again. The entire episode and all of our episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Variety Talk Show Series. That's a mouthful. You don't have to worry about saying any of that. Just say the Jim Masters Show. I'll say the rest. You can see it all if you joined us late, or you just tuned in 5 seconds ago, or whatever the case may be. You can see the whole episode on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. And while you're there, we would love it if you subscribe. Send us some lovity by subscribing to the YouTube channel. I don't know why they use the word subscribe, because it doesn't cost anything just to hit that red button. That just welcomes you to the Jim Masters Show gang, our lovely family, our lovely squad. So you hit that red button you see on the YouTube channel there, Jim Masters TV. And again, you can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Jim Masters TV. I made it easy. Jim Masters TV for the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV for all the social media as well. Give this episode a thumbs up. There is a thumbs up icon on the YouTube channel. If you can click thumbs up, that means you like all the episodes and this episode. And leave a comment for us as well. We love it. YouTube also loves it when you do that. They see that. We see that. We thank you. YouTube sees it. They blast the episodes out even further around the world. So when you do click like and you leave a comment, you're actually helping this show that you guys love so much. And we really appreciate those of you who do that. You're all duly noted. We see the ones who leave comments. We see the ones who click like and go the extra mile. And we thank you so very much for doing that. That really helps us. Ms. Pat in Texas is in the house. We love when you are here. Outstanding show. Thank you very much, Ms. Pat in Texas. Fabulous having you here. She thanks Dena for being here as well. Thank you very much. Of course, Maureen from Arizona. This was such a wonderful conversation. So much fun getting to know Dena. Thank you, Jim. Pleasure is all mine. Maureen and I got a chance to meet in New York City when she came east from Arizona for her sister's birthday. And she and Kathleen, who you also see in the chat, we got together at Sardi's restaurant in New York City. And you wouldn't believe it. I'll have to show you some pictures. We closed the place. No, they're not permanently closed, meaning that we got together for dinner and we were there just chatting, because Kathleen and I knew each other, but Maureen was new to us. And we had like a Jim Masters Show lovely squad meeting of the minds at Sardi's. I said, hey, let's go to Sardi's, because they were asking, where do you want to go? When Maureen was coming east. And I said, let's go to Sardi's. That's a good place. And then we were going to go to the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. We bought the tickets online, all of us. We never made it there. We were still ordering wine and dessert and more food at Sardi's, and we literally closed the place. We all ended up going on trains and all of this, and she went to her hotel and all the rest going on trains. I was going back north, and Kathleen was going out towards Queens, late at night. It was just really an amazing thing. And it was really, really fun. I like that. See, Maureen is a nurse, supposedly retired, but she's still at it. And I like that. Instead of subscribe on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It really should, for our show, it should be prescribe, because of just the feeling that our show offers. I like that. It should be prescribed, since being in Lovity Hall each day is the best medicine. Right on. I love that, Maureen. That was terrific. Appreciate that. Yes, it was an amazing day and night when we closed Sardi's, wasn't it? Yes, Kathleen and Maureen says it was the best time ever. Definitely a time I will never forget. Thank you both for taking the time to meet up. Yeah, we wanted to meet up with some of the viewers, and we got a chance to do that. I took the day off. I had to move some radio shows off the schedule, and yeah, I had to. There was a TV shoot that was the next day that I was writing scripts for, and that worked out. I made sure I got all that done earlier, but we were able to do the whole thing. I had like an 8 a.m. TV shoot the next morning. And I think I got in at like 3:30 in the morning on the train, but it was worth it. It was fantastic. Yeah, it was fantastic. So this is great. You guys are fantastic. Thanks for all the great comments. We love all of you. And again, if you missed anything, you'd like to see it again, it's all right here on our YouTube channel. Tomorrow, let me tell you about this guest. We're talking about an iconic person in the music world who is responsible for, she's a singer and musician herself. She was in a very popular 80s band, but she's the songwriter behind some of pop culture's most iconic songs. She wrote the song The Warrior for Patti Smythe. She's written songs galore for Kiss, Rod Stewart, Tina Turner, Pat Benatar, some of the biggest hits of the 80s and the 90s. Holly Knight wrote and or co-wrote. Got a new book too, I Am the Warrior, and she is going to be on our show. This is a JMS exclusive tomorrow. I mean, almost everything you can think of from the 80s and 90s during that MTV generation, all of those iconic hits from those major names and many, many more. You're looking at the songwriter right there, Holly Knight. She's extraordinary. She's going to be with us coming up tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And guess who else we have coming this week? Barry Lee Moe. He is a renowned celebrity hairstylist. Yes, he officially works with Tori Amos. He's a hairstylist for Jennifer Lopez. He worked on the Tommy Lee and Pam Anderson movie and Pose, of course, that series Pose, and many others. He's going to be coming to us from Hollywood. We're all excited about Barry Lee Moe joining us here on the show. Coming up soon, legendary comedian. You've seen him. He was on David Letterman more than 40 times and a lot of different shows, movies, TV shows. Legendary stand-up comedian and magician and actor Jeff Altman is going to be joining us here on the show. And if you didn't see the episode when Daniel Ross was here, he is the voice of Donald Duck. He's up for an Emmy. He's the voice of Lucky the Leprechaun in the Lucky Charms cereal commercials and all the Transformers and so much more. He was with us recently. He is fantastic. So yeah, look at some of these major people that are stopping by the Jim Masters show. This is really cool stuff. And this is what it's like here. And, jockeying the calendar to fit everybody in, and this one this day and this one that day, and it's a little heady, but it's fantastic. It's really great. And having all of you here just makes it icing on the cake. So with all that said, we thank our very special guest joining us from New York City today, Dena Tyler, beloved television actress, and so much more. Great stories, great fun, joining us here on the Jim Masters Show. You guys enjoyed it. Look for her on a TV screen near you. A lot of shows, a lot of episodes, a lot of cool things she's got coming up, a lot of cool things that she's immersed in. And as she said, she is loving the ride. She was very open too, wasn't she? She talked about her life. She talked about her upbringing. She talked about, EFT tapping. I've actually, in some of my professional world at the TV News Magazine show in New York that I co-host with Doug Llewellyn, who hosts the People's Court show. He and I have worked together for years and still do. We've interviewed actually a lot of people that do that kind of stuff, EFT tapping and, motivational work and things of that nature. And it's really important. I've had to learn how to meditate. That's something I've had to learn how to do because I'm always thinking, I'm always thinking, trying to prevent problems before they happen, trying to make sure everybody else has their T's crossed and their I's dotted. And I won't get into it, but remember, gang, there's that story where I drove alone through Death Valley after a television shoot I was on, and we wrapped the shoot, and camera guy had to go. The camera crew went back to LA, and I was still in Nevada, in Pahrump, Nevada, and I took the rental car and I drove alone through Death Valley, and how life-changing that was, learning to create boundaries, learning to put the oxygen mask on me before I help somebody else, because, you have to do that. And, it doesn't mean you don't help people. Of course you help people, but you got to get the oxygen in you first before you can help people. And when I drove alone through Death Valley in August, just a couple of years ago, in a rental car with nobody on planet Earth knowing I was doing that after a TV shoot, that really was life-changing. And I talked a little bit about it here on the show. There might be a book related to that. People are asking me to do that and some video stuff, but stay tuned for all that. You guys are the best. We've got the best audience around the world, and we thank you so much for spending all this time with us. This really was something quite special, as all the episodes are. So you be well. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. All the rest, whatever you're watching this episode, and live, or you're watching it Memorex, meaning archived. And if you're watching this later on, stay right here. Another episode comes up. If you're watching it live, we'll see you tomorrow. Around here, we do not say, if you know us, we don't say goodbye. We say see you later. Ciao, cheers, slancha. Buenas noches, hasta la vista. We say sayonara, shalom, moilu. Take care, be well, auf Wiedersehen. And we shall see you on the next episode. I'll be, as Richard Marx sang in the 80s, I'll be right here waiting for you. And we thank you very much. Kathleen says, great night, good night all, and great show. And thank you, gang, for all the great comments and levity. Spread the word about our show. It takes a village. Help us out. And we'll see you on the next one right here on the Jim Masters Show. We love you all. Take care and be well. And we love having you every time you tune in. We'll be here putting a smile on your face, poignant conversations, great entertainment. And you never know what comes up here on the show. Jane in Sweden says it is 3:40 a.m. in Sweden right now. They're several hours ahead of us, and she's with us late night in beautiful Sweden. Time for a snack, Jim. Get some rest. Yeah, maybe we'll have a little snack. Good night. God bless everyone. Ms. Patton, Texas, right back at you. Merry and happy to everybody. And thanks again for being with us on the Jim Masters Show. See you again soon. Cheers.